Shabbat Shalom. Let's go to Brother Garfield page. Let's go get to this debate. Shabbat Shalom. Shout out to Brother Garfield. Shout out to Brother Garfield for hosting this debate, this great debate. We about to get into this debate. Oh, let me start this thing over. We about to get into this debate. So for the people that wasn't there, didn't catch it live, shalom, shalom. That wasn't there, that didn't catch it live. I had a debate versus Deacon Hakah from the Genesis Israelites on Daniel 9, 70 weeks. And it was a slaughter. It was a slaughter. It was a volume low. All right, hold up. Volume low. What about now? Can you hear me now? Volume better now? Is the volume better now? Let me know. Perfect. All right, great. Yeah, it was a slaughter. Completely destroyed them. It was bad. So we're gonna watch the debate. I bet. Appreciate it. Shalom to the brother Soul. We're gonna watch the debate, and we're gonna analyze it. I'm gonna let it ride for the most part, but we're gonna analyze it. I'm gonna just get to the part where we get to the introduction.
The challenge to priest Hakah, 88-minute debate.
Let me see.
Use Bible verses.
Let's just get to
So I will not
the introduction.
Formal judge or no in it.
That 10, 20.
All right.
Down to 10 minutes. He's asking the questions.
He's already dead. He's dead. I gotta kill him again.
Genesis 1:44.
Gdal, Haggadol, Mr. All right, cool. So we about to get it started, man. We gonna watch this debate. We're gonna analyze it. And we're just gonna see how it went for the brother. Let me know if the sound is good.
Or don't. All right, so he's good to go. I mean, yeah, we're going in the introduction. Salaki, I apologize. So I'm gonna put 2 minutes on the clock. 1 second. All right, so of course you introduce yourself, introduce your school of thought. No Bible verses, no sources. The time starts when you start.
Hey, it's Gdal, Haggadol, Mr. Versus, the champion of versus. I have the belt. I'm the undefeated champion of the versus platform. And even though we on YouTube, this is still versus rules versus platform. All right, let me pause it real fast. The volume for the video is not good. Let me see. For real, definitely a moment of silence. The video sound low. Let me see if I can. Let's try to get this video volume right. He definitely got to take that priest off for sure. For sure. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if it's good now. Let me know if this volume is good, if y'all can hear it. So nothing's going to change. I'm going to win today. And as you know, for the people that don't know, I'm Tanakh only. I do not follow the New Testament as scripture. And today I'm going to show and prove that Daniel 9, 70 weeks prophecy is the volume fulfilled without a shadow of a doubt during the time of the Greeks, during the time of the Maccabees. I'm going to use Daniel's own words to prove this. My opponent is going to try to prove that it happened during the Roman time period, which he's not going to be able to. And the reason why I wanted this debate is because I saw Hakah pick on certain Tanakh onlys they little in the truth. They don't have much knowledge. They just getting into it. They not studied. They not the top dogs of the Tanakh only community. And when he does, he picks on them, asks them a bunch of questions, but he never want to answer questions about Daniel 9. So today he's going to have to answer questions about Daniel 9, and we're going to see how he can't. He's going to stumble. He's gonna mess up, and I'm gonna be victorious. All praise to the God of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm done.
Quick problem. Corey just dropped off. Priest Hakah, go ahead with your 2-minute introduction. Hopefully, Corey will come back on. All right.
Yeah, what's up? Chill out. Yeah, what's up?
You're muted. You're muted, brother.
Oh, I thought that was me for me. I'm like, what's wrong with the sound?
All right, my bad. I'm about to start my own time. Until he get back, I'll start the time. First and foremost, let's give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. It's crazy that he said that he's the top dog of whatever, but you know, I didn't want to take this debate. Why? Because he's not even a formidable opponent to me. They know why I took this debate. It took some major compensation for me to even take my time to entertain this guy. He's saying he's the top dog, but Hassad literally stomped him out in a debate. So in this debate, we're going to examine one of the most precise and profound prophecies in the Bible. This prophecy gives literal math. It outlines a timeline that points directly to the coming of the Messiah and, keyword, the ultimate destruction of the temple and city. My position is rooted in the plain reading of the text and supported by both biblical language and historical chronology. The 70 weeks are prophetic weeks, each week representing 7 years, and a 360-day prophetic years. As is consistent with other time prophecies in Scripture, the clock begins with the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, not just the temple. All right, I want you guys to understand that. The decree was issued by Artaxerxes, 444 BC. Counting 69 weeks, it brings us up to the Messiah being crucified in 32 AD. The final week, the 70th week, is the Roman Israelite wars that lasted 7 years. And we know what happened in the middle of that. My opponent will argue that this prophecy somehow ends with Antiochus' epiphany in Onias 3, placing the fulfillment centuries earlier and starting his clock at 588 BC based on a misreading of Jeremiah 24 and no scholarly sources. We're going to see that this view fails to reach the full fulfillment of what Daniel 9 is talking about. He's going to offer clumsy patchwork timeline and faulty interpretations and pseudo-scholarship, cherry-picked dates, but he's going to get exposed by Hashem Yahweh Shai. I asked the audience to pay attention to see who makes sense and who is confusing as hell. All praises.
All right, good deal.
All right, so that was the introduction. A little spicy. He tried to get a little spicy. About the money thing, because I know a lot of people was asking about that. Did Hakah get paid to do this debate? Yes, he did. The reason why he got paid, and I said this before we did the debate. If you watch boxing, boxers will try to price themselves out of fights they don't really want to fight. Instead of saying, "No, I don't want to do it, I'm scared," blah, 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 they will price themselves out of the fight, give out a number, and they hoping the person won't pay the number so they won't have to fight him. And then they can say, "You know what, I didn't fight him because they didn't pay me," instead of saying, "I didn't fight him because I was scared." So that's what Deacon tried to do. He tried to give a first. He said 2,000, but he got paid less than 2,000. I'm not sure how much he got paid, but Garfield did pay him, not $2,000 though. And Garfield paid him because he wanted to call his bluff. You want to try to price yourself out? No, what, huh? Take the money, take the debate, because I know you're scared. I know you don't really want to do the debate. I know you're going to get destroyed. So you want to sacrifice your life for a little bit of money? Do that. So yes, he did get paid to get the belt put to him.
Man, I apologize about that, man. We had a little issue. I got kicked out, but I'm quite sure Brother Garfield stepped in. So we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to set the timer to the 10-minute. Gdal, you good to go?
Yes, indeed. I'm good to go. I just need my PowerPoint on the screen.
All right, Brother Garfield, can you handle that? All right, we got it up there. Can everybody see it? Hit the chat if you can see the PowerPoint. Hit the chat. All right, put ones in the chat if you can see it. Put ones in the chat.
Hey, you can put me on the screen too if you can, or if you can't, it's fine. It's going to get spooky.
I think we can. Everybody see Gdal? Put twos in the chat if you see Gdal.
It's gonna cut his presentation off. He got to put us to the side.
Yeah.
Brother Garfield, did you hear that?
If you can put it to the side, put it to the side. If you can't, then
Shout out to Brother Garfield, man. Brother Garfield held it down, allowing us to get busy on this platform.
There you go. There you go. Just like that.
All right, put threes in it. Put threes in the chat if you can see it. We can see it on the stage. Put threes in the chat if y'all can see it, and we're gonna take off. Priest Hakah versus Gdal. We got Gdal in round one right now. It's finna get lit. Daniel 9.
Deacon definitely got his dog walked for real.
Some other things. 70-week prophecy. What did it happen during the times of the Romans or the Greeks? All right, we got threes in the chat. Gdal, if you good to go, the time will start when you start.
All right, let's go. Daniel 9, 70 weeks were completed during the time of the Maccabees, which is the time of the Greeks. And we're going to prove this. Some important things to point out before we start. Let's read. It says, know therefore and discern that from the going forth of the word to restore and build Jerusalem, unto one anointed a prince shall be 7 weeks. And for 62 weeks it shall be built again, with broad place and moat, but in troublous times. And after the 62 weeks shall an anointed one be cut off and be no more. In verse 25, it does not say the Messiah. There is no definite article in the Hebrew. It simply says Messiah, anointed one, or Mashiach. 38 out of 39 times in the KJV is translated to anointed. Why is Daniel 9 different? I'll let you guys think about that. The Messiah is HaMashiach. So it's important to know a difference from an anointed one and the anointed, or the Messiah. Daniel 9 is not talking about this future, the Messiah. Verse 25, the 7 weeks, which is 49 years, is separate from the 62 weeks, the 62 weeks, which is 434 years. How do we know this? Because in verse 26, it lets us know that. In the Hebrew, there is a definite article this time for the 62 weeks. It says ha shabaim, separating it from the 7 weeks. There are 2 anointed ones in this chapter. The first anointed one comes after 7 weeks, which is 49 years. And the second anointed one is cut off after 62 weeks, which is 434 years. There is a big difference from the 7 weeks and the 62 weeks. They are not to be clung together. Cyrus is the first anointed one of Daniel 9. Isaiah 45 verse 1 lets us know Cyrus is the Lord's anointed. It says, thus said the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus. So everybody know without a shadow of a doubt, Cyrus is the Lord's anointed one. So now let's get to the math. We're going to start with the first time period, which is 7 weeks to 49 years. Where do we start this math from? It says from the going forth of the word, the bar. Who gave this word? Let's read Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. Now, in the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, that the word by the Lord of the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia. So Ezra lets us know that Cyrus is fulfilling what Jeremiah spoke. Jeremiah gave that word, which is why Daniel is thinking on Jeremiah's prophecy. In Jeremiah 29, verses 10 through 14, God tells us he would fulfill his good word, his good debar. What word? Let's read Jeremiah 24, and we're going to start at verse 4. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, like these good figs, so will I regard the captives of Judah, who I have sent out of this place into the land of Chaldees for their good. I will set my eyes upon them for good, and I will bring them back to this land, and I will build them up. Now, God said after he brings them out of the land of the Chaldees, which is Babylon, he would build them up in their land. Now, when God says he's going to build us up, it's talking about our government, our city, our temple, everything. So he said he would do that after Babylon. So remember, if I have the Bible Hub timeline right here. Jeremiah gives the prophecy of Jeremiah 24 and Jeremiah 29 in the year 588 BCE. Now, let's subtract the 7 weeks, which is the 49 years, from 588. You will be at 539. the exact same year Cyrus defeats Babylon. We have that right at the bottom. Cyrus describes how he conquered Babylon in 539 BCE. It's not a coincidence that exactly 49 years, exactly 7 weeks that the prophetic word was sent out, we have the Lord's anointed one on the scene. There is no coincidence. This is a fulfillment of the first time period, the 49 years. The word went forth, exactly 49 weeks. The Lord's anointed is on the scene, just like Daniel 9 says. Now, the 62 weeks, the 62 weeks, which is 434 years. You start this from the start of the Babylonian captivity. Why? Because everything that Daniel is asking has to do with the rise and fall of Babylon and the captivity and the reestablishment of Israel. So you have to put everything in context. Daniel chapter 9, verse 1, Daniel talking about exactly this. From the start of Nebuchadnezzar's reign of Babylon in 605 BCE, all the way to the death of the anointed one, cut off, in 171 BCE. This is exactly 62 weeks, 434 years. If you subtract the 434 from the 605, the 62 weeks, you get 171 exactly, precisely. Onias the high priest is killed in 171 BCE. Second Maccabees chapter 4, verses 33 through 35 documents this. Leviticus 4 calls the high priest the anointed. It says, HaKohen HaMashiach, the priest, the anointed, or the priest, the Messiah. This is how we know Onias the high priest is the second anointed one. During this time, the temple was rebuilt in troubled time. All you have to do is read the books of Ezra and Nehemiah, and it ended with the anointed one being cut off, just like Daniel 9 said. After 62 weeks, an anointed one would be cut off, and that is Onias. Now, it says, verse 26, after the 62 weeks shall an anointed one be cut off, and be no more. And the people of a prince shall come and destroy the city and the sanctuary. Right? Who is this? This is Antiochus Epiphanes and the Seleucid Empire. They did this. This is the 7-year covenant, the last week that Daniel talks about, verse 27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. This is a 7-year covenant. Let's read. In 171, just like we talked about, Menelaus gets Onias killed and becomes high priest. This starts Antiochus robbing the temple. Second Maccabees chapter 4 and chapter 5 documents this. 3.5 years later, in 167 BCE, halfway through the week, he corrupts and destroys the city and the temple, also sacrificing a pig on the altar. This is what Daniel 9:27 says. He shall confirm the covenant with 1 week, and in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. This is a fulfillment of that right here during the time of the Greeks. Now, at the end of this week, in 164 BC, the temple is rededicated and anointed by the Maccabees. That's First Maccabees chapter 4, verses 52 to 58. Daniel 9:24 says, and to anoint the most holy place. This is why we celebrate Hanukkah. Daniel 9 is literally talking about Hanukkah. And it says right here, from 171 BCE to 164 BCE is exactly 70 years. It's exactly 7 years. And 167 is exactly the middle of the 7 years. When the abomination of desolation happened, the sacrifice ceased. This is clear and precise what Daniel 9 is talking about, and it happened during the time of the Greeks. Another thing that's important, Daniel said the Greeks would do it. I didn't say it. Daniel said it. He tells us the Greeks would do it in Daniel chapter 8, verse 11 through 21. Let's read. And the he-goat magnified himself exceedingly, and he was strong, and the great horn was broken, and instead of it, there came up the appearance of 4 horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. And yea, it magnified himself, even to the prince of the host. And from him, the continuing burnt offering was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. This is what Daniel 9 is talking about. Now, it says the he-goat would do this, correct? Now, verse 21, who does Daniel say the he-goat is? The rough he-goat is the king of Greece.
minutes
The
left.
he-goat is the king of Greece. Daniel said the Greeks would do this, not the Romans. If someone says the Romans did this, they would be calling Daniel a liar and a false prophet. It's clear. We went through the first week, we went through the 62 weeks, and now we just went through the last week. I just showed you the fulfillment clearly and precisely with dates, history, and the words of Daniel. It's clear. This debate is already over. I can see the rest of my time.
Hey, I ain't gonna like toot my own horn or nothing like that, because like look, I'm humble. But my first round, look what Zamron said. This first round by Gdal was masterful. I'm telling you, that how I put that together, man. And I'm look, all praise to the Most High for allowing me to do this. How I just went through that, the dates, the times, I had the sources on the screen, I had the scripture, I'm proving it is lining up. That was masterful. That was a beautiful first round. Beautiful. I think I did well in that first round, just to analyze my first round. I didn't stumble too much. My breath was on pace. It was good. Yeah, I think I didn't feel like I was reading too fast. I was going too fast. I think my pace was great how I presented it. So I give myself a 10 in that first round for sure. All right, so at the bottom of the first round, we about to get into Deacon's first round now.
All right, he concedes the rest of his time with 20 seconds left on the clock. Shout out to Gdal, Hakah closing out round one. We're going into.
I was wilding.
Going into round one.
Right, look, I was feeling myself. Like when you do a debate, right, and you execute the way you meant to execute, the way you prepared to execute, and you get in there and you execute it, that just gives you a boost of energy, man. So I was hyped.
The second, the latter half of Priest Hakah, going into his premise on the topic Daniel 9, we're talking about the 70-week prophecy. Did it take place in a Roman period or the Greek period? We're going to reset this 10 minutes right quick.
I was wild.
Right, so Priest Hakah. And make sure you snatch up those children's books on Genesis144.com. Make sure y'all snatch them up. Priest Hakah got them inside of his visual right there. So snatch them up, Genesis144.com. Somebody threw it in the chat. Other than that, Priest Hakah, can we get a mic check?
Mic check. All praise to the Most High.
All right, Brother Garfield. Well, let me ask Priest Hakah, would you be doing a PowerPoint? Yeah,
I'm gonna share my screen.
All right, good deal. So we got the time set up, Brother Garfield. If you can share Priest Hakah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, there we go.
Hey man, who got Gdal up so far, man? Put it in the chat, man. If you got Gdal up, be honest. Put it in the chat, man. This is the verses, man, on the Brother Garfield podcast.
That was horrible, man. Right, okay.
Look, the way he said that was horrible. You can tell he didn't mean that. He was like, man, in his head he was thinking like, man, he just executed. But he had to show face. That was horrible. That ain't even sound convincing.
I'm ready.
All right, so the time will start when you start, Priest.
All right.
1 second. Bro, maybe you need to I don't know what your program you're using. You're using Keypoint, right? Or Key whatever, right?
Keynotes. Oh, hold on. I know what to do.
Yeah.
I know what to do right here.
You sure? Wow. Because if you press that, it's gonna go by a timer. So you sure you want to do that?
Yeah, I know how to do it. It's not gonna go by a timer. Right. I can manually do it.
I just wanted it to make it bigger on the screen. All right, cool.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. So as soon as I start, we start?
Time will start when you start, sir.
All right. Let's go. Round one. All right, Daniel 70 weeks fulfilled in Greek or Roman period. Daniel 9:24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. Everyone agrees these are spiritual weeks, each day for a year, totaling 490 years, but they're prophetic years. It's not a random assumption. This is Bible-based. The Bible talks about how days represent years, weeks represent 7 years. but they're 300. They're prophetic years on a prophetic calendar. There's scriptural evidence for this. They're 360-day years, not our solar 360 25-day years. Where do we see this? Revelation 11, where it talks about 42 months, which is 1,260 days. That would mean each month is 30 days, 1 year, 360 days. Now, so 490 prophetic years would be 483 of our solar years. All of this would have to happen within this time period. Determined 70 weeks, the holy city, finish the transgression, making the end of sins, making reconciliation for iniquity, bringing in everlasting righteousness, sealing up the vision of the prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. What does finish the transgression mean? He's saying that it means, oh, they get 500 years to go be gay, because that's what he's saying. They get 500 years to keep committing sin. That's ridiculous. This phrase means transgression will end, and is speaking to ending Israel's rebellion once and for all. Now, while Yahweh's death on the cross was the beginning of that process, the legal sacrifice made for the restoration, the actual finishing of the transgression won't be complete until we are in the kingdom under the new covenant, which his death was for when we no longer sin. It says to make an end of sin, also echoing that same prior phraseology. So although sin still exists, this phrase points to the legal mechanism by which.
Look, I'm not gonna stop his round, right? I just want to say this though. This point where he says sin was not ended during his time period, during the Roman time period, that it has to be ended in the future, he loses the debate right there. From his understanding, the 70 weeks are still not completed because sin, in his understanding, has not ended yet. Like, how can you say, yo, it was fulfilled during the time of the Romans, but then in your own argument in the first round, you say sin has not been ended when that's a stipulation in the 70 weeks. Like, I'm not going to stop it, but like that was a big error. And if you paying attention to this debate, you see he lost right there in his own, he shot himself. Shut about.
Sin would be removed, i.e. the new covenant under Yahweh through his blood being the down payment for the future covenant where the law is written on our inward parts. That covenant has not been implemented yet, but the foundation was laid by him through him. All right. Now, to make a reconciliation for iniquity, this is given mediation talk. The mediator restores us because of our sins. Yahweh turned his back on Israel. Yahweh's role as the high priest and mediator reconciles that broken relationship. He offered himself as a once for all sacrifice, giving us access back to the Father, Hebrews 9:26. Now, instead of animal offerings and Levitical rituals, we have an intercessor because we cannot do animal sacrifice at the temple. Also, it says to bring in everlasting righteousness. Kingdom righteousness by Yahweh, which hasn't been fulfilled, but it's coming through Yahweh. He is the vessel through which everlasting righteousness will be brought into the earth. Isaiah 9:7 says his kingdom will be ruled with justice and righteousness forever. Through him, Israel will finally walk in perfection with the laws written on our hearts. Yahweh makes this possible, even though the reality of it awaits. His death was the precursor and catalyst. Let's go to number 5. To seal up the vision and the prophecy, this just means that at the end of the 70 weeks, everything said to him in the vision would come to completion and end at 70 AD. Number 6, to anoint the most holy. Yahweh's heavenly priesthood. We know as above, so below. So there is a temple in heaven. This isn't about the earthly temple. Hebrews 9:24 tells us Yahweh didn't enter a temple made with hands, but the heavenly one. When he arose and ascended, he entered the true holies of holies to present his blood anointing the most holy place in heaven with his perfect sacrifice. Why the weeks in Daniel 9 are compartmentalized? What does that mean? They're isolated. You see it right here, knowing therefore that the going forth to the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. So right here, we see the prophecy divided into parts. 7 weeks, which is 49 years, he agrees. 62 weeks, which is 434 years. Then in verse 27, it says he shall confirm the covenant for 1 week. There's a clear division. 7, 62, 1. right? But they're not treated as a continuous block. That's true. Let's break it down. The text literally splits time periods. Daniel could have said 69 weeks, but he didn't. He purposely split 7 and 62, which suggests they are continuous but separate events or phases. So the fact that he groups them together shows you that they are a continual block. He tried to separate them. This literally separation allows you to compartmentalize them, meaning they can refer to distinct time frames or functions.
5 minutes left.
Historical fulfillment supports this division. The first 7 weeks, starting at 444 BC, is dealing with the rebuilding of the temple, like Daniel says. This happened under Nehemiah and Ezra and took decades to do. Now, the 62 weeks continues from there after the rebuilding, leading directly to the arrival and death, crucifixion of the Messiah at 32 AD. The last 1 week, 7 years, is separated in Daniel 9 and 27. This week is not grouped with the first. This week, events happen like the destruction of the city, temple, and sacrifice ending. So when does the 70 weeks start according to the Bible? It starts right here. We're not going to play games. Oh, debar this, debar that. Debar means commandment. It starts at the restoration of the rebuilding of Jerusalem. That's where it starts at. So when did this happen? What date was this? That's how we know when the weeks will start. Nehemiah is sent to rebuild Jerusalem in 444 BC. This is from Dr. Constable's expository notes. He says that this happened in 444 BC, right? This is Nehemiah chapter 2. We have internal evidence. He's sent to rebuild Jerusalem by King Artaxerxes in Nehemiah chapter 2. That's when the week starts. So now that we know that, we know the prophetic years are 483 years, which is 476 solar years. From that starting point, the Messiah will be on the scene and be crucified. It says it in verse 26, and after the 62 weeks, 69 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off, but not for himself. 444 BC, 476 prophetic years, which are 483 prophetic years is 476 solar years, brings you to 32 AD. The scholars say he died from 30 to 33 AD. He's in a body bag. Now, verse 26, and the people of the prince, after the Messiah dies, the prince will come. This prince will come and destroy the city and the sanctuary. This prince will come with legions. This is the Roman legions. The prince is Titus, the son of Vespasian. He was going to destroy the city and the sanctuary. He burned it, flattened it, utterly destruction. The second temple, the central place of the Israelites' worship, was completely destroyed, never rebuilt till this day. That's what Daniel 9 says. Antiochus didn't do this. This wasn't a partial judgment. This was a total annihilation, like Daniel said would happen. It says the end thereof shall be with the flood, not literal water. This is an overwhelming military invasion. I'm going to ask him, did Titus destroy more or did Antiochus? The Roman forces flooded Jerusalem with violence. Even Josephus says blood was running in the streets of Jerusalem with over 1 million deaths. Until the end of the war, desolations are determined. Meaning it wouldn't stop in 70 AD. It would go all the way to 73 AD. He can't prove that. Now, he shall confirm the covenant. He shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice to cease. Now, who is the he here? The same as the prior, Titus Vespasian, right? And the people of the prince shall come. We proved that contextually. Confirm the covenant. Confirming the covenant or the oath is in connection with Daniel chapter 9, where it says, yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses. The word covenant and oath here are interchangeable. So the oath in Daniel 9 and 11 refers to the curses of Deuteronomy 28. So when it says he will confirm the not about the new covenant. It's about God using Titus Vespasian to implement the curses of Deuteronomy 28 and that the old covenant curses. We see that in Leviticus 26 and 25, where the Lord will send armies against you to carry out the curse of the covenant. Bars, right? Now, Titus Vespasian fulfills this covenant curse, right? This 1 week curse, 7 years, where he interrupts or completely annihilates the temple where we cannot sacrifice in 70 AD. He fulfills other curses surrounding 70 AD where we're permanently exiled and our land is permanently destroyed. That's 7 years fitting perfectly. 66 to 73. He can't get around this. And in the middle of that week is 70 AD where he destroys the temple, right? And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice to cease. We talked about that. For the overspreading of abominations, this is what he's going to have to deal with. This was total destruction. That didn't happen with Antiochus, but it did with Titus. All praises to the Most High. He's done.
Time.
All right, so that's the end of his first round. I'm gonna try to judge his first round fairly and unbiasedly if I can. Again, if I can. I know I'm biased here. I know I'm in the debate. I know I feel like he didn't do well. I know I feel like I destroyed him, but I'm gonna try to be fair to him. His first round, from trying to look at it from his point of view, it wasn't that bad. He made a couple errors, but it wasn't that bad. The first error he made was saying that the sin wasn't completed. If he's making, hold on, we got him.
Boo this man!
So if the sin has not been ended from his understanding in his 70 weeks, that means his 70 weeks is still going now and is not going to be accomplished to the future. So technically, you lose right there because it hasn't been fulfilled yet in your own understanding. That's one knock. The second knock is this solar year mistake he does. And his 360-day calendar that he's using. The Babylonian calendar, or the Babylonians understood that it was both lunar and solar, that they had a 365-year calendar. The Hebrews knew that it was 365 or 364 years. They did not use this 360-day calendar. But I'm going to do another video on that, discussing the lunar, the lunar solar, and the solar calendar, the so-called prophetic calendar. I'm going to discuss that further in another video to show how much of an error he did. And another thing he did wrong, which was very bad, I'm not going to point out everything, but just these three. The Titus Vespasian thingy, that 1 week, that 1 week at the end, that 66 CE thing, horrible. Anybody that know the history of the Romans or the Jews at that time period, as soon as he said that Titus confirmed that in 66 CE, we already knew that's bad work right there. Boo that man.
Boo this man!
All right, and also the 444 time period is bad. But I'm not going to do too much talking. Y'all going to see in this second round how I go after his points directly and debunk them. Everyone clean, destroying it. Y'all going to see this. But let's get back to it.
Right on time, brother. Right on time. We just reset the 10 minutes. We're going into round two. Make sure you guys support Gdal, Hakah with Prolific Wellness Touch. We got a couple of people just coming into the room. Support the brother's business. He's doing some excellent things with pain management and neuromuscular therapy. I know people may be dealing with those issues or have people in their families or in their neighborhoods require such a trade. So make sure y'all reach out to Gdal with Prolific Wellness Touch. Just simple Google and all of his credentials will pull up. Also, we got the good brother Priest Hakah with Genesis144.com with the children's Bibles. Make sure y'all click Genesis144 with the children's Bibles. We're going into round two right now, which allows for a continued premise as well as a rebuttal. So you can also include a rebuttal, or you can just do 10 minutes full of rebuttal, or you can do a little mix and match. That's on you guys to do it, but it allows for that. Bible verses and, of course, sources is allowed. No interruptions in round two. Gdal, you are first. The time is set at 10 minutes. Gdal, can we just get a quick mic check? If you're inside of the audience, put who you got so far, man. These boys just went in round one. Right. Who you got so far? Throw it in the chat. Gdal, what you got? Mic check.
I'm here, mic check. I'm here. You can put me at the top.
All right, good deal. Would you be utilizing the your PowerPoint?
Yes, indeed.
All right, good deal. Brother Garfield, let's get that up. All right. All right. So we got the PowerPoint up. And then the 10 minutes is up. Gdal, the time will start when you start.
Right, let's get to it. Why Hakah's understanding of Daniel 9 doesn't work. We're about to strike him out. The first strike. The 444 BCE 70-week start point is just bad work. The prophecy in Daniel 9:25 says the 70 weeks begins with the word to restore and build Jerusalem, not just the walls. Problem. The 444 BCE decree that Artaxerxes authorized the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls, not the city. Historical context. The temple in some parts of Jerusalem had already begun to be rebuilt under earlier Persian decrees. They started in Cyrus in 539, Darius in 520, and Artaxerxes in 457. Conclusion. Using the 444 BCE as a start is horrible because the decree is the building of the walls, not the city. All that decree did in 444 was build the walls and continue the building of the city that was already started.
I want to start right there because if you was watching the debate live last night, he asked me on the hot seat round, did I say the city, Nehemiah built the city as well? I said he was focused on the walls. All he did with the city was continue it because it had already been started. He said, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't say that. He tried to make it seem like I was lying. Now, if you just heard, I clearly said all Nehemiah did was build the wall, and then he continued the work of the city, which was already begun. He tried to call me a liar like I didn't say that. So let's go back. I want you to clearly hear I didn't lie. He tried to make it seem like he caught me or something. I didn't lie. Let's go back to that real fast.
Because the decree is the building of the walls, not the city. All that decree did in 444 was build the walls and continue the building of the city that was already started. How do we know this?
So again, what did I say? The 444 decree was about the building of the walls. With the city, he just continued what was already started to be built earlier. So you cannot start it from 444 BCE because the city and everything was already begun to be built before that. How is this the start of your decree when the stuff was already started to be built with earlier decrees? That is clear. I am going to lie.
Let's read the Bible. Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 3. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 17. Let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. Nehemiah chapter 3 describes the detailed work of the rebuilding of the wall, naming individuals and families who repaired specific sections. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 6. So we rebuilt the wall. Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 15. So the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul. Nehemiah chapter 7, verse 1. After the wall had been rebuilt. The wall the decree 444 was the rebuilding of the wall. The city had already begun to be built. Let's prove that. And they are built. This is Ezra chapter 4, verse 12. Before 444 BCE, they are rebuilding that rebellious and wicked city. They are restoring the walls. It already started to be built before 444 BCE. How can you start it at that decree? Verse 13, if this city is rebuilt and its walls restored, no more taxes or tribute or duty will be paid, and eventually the royal revenues will suffer. This confirms the city rebuilding was underway, and the ops feared its completion would cause political problems. This is before 444 BCE. Ezra chapter 4, verse 21. so that this city will not be rebuilt until I order a royal decree to halt the rebuilding of the city, showing clearly it had begun before 444 BCE. This is clear. Not only was the building of the temple stopped, it marks a pause in the broader restoration efforts, including the city. How can we start from 444 for the rebuilding of the city when the city had already begun to be built? That's one strike. The second strike, being sneaky, tricky, and unhonest. Daniel 9:25 clearly separates the 70 weeks into 7 weeks and 62 weeks before the anointed is cut off. From the going forth of the word till one anointed shall be 7 weeks, and in 62 weeks the city shall be built. Problem. Hakah tries to combine the 7 and 62 to equate 69 weeks without explaining why Daniel separates them. The separation implies 2 distinct time periods. Daniel 9:26, and after the 62 weeks shall an anointed one be cut off. Key observation, verse 26 does not mention the 7 weeks again, only the 62 weeks. This clearly shows that 62 weeks are separate from the 7. Something happens after the 62, namely the cutoff. Conclusion, treating the 7 and the 62 weeks as 69 weeks together is very problematic and going against what Daniel clearly writes. Scholarly support. John J. Collins, a commentary on the book of Daniel, page 355 to page 356. Collins, a recognized expert in Daniel, writes,
5 minutes left.
There will be 7 weeks. The Masoretic text places an etnac between the 7 weeks and the 62 weeks. The Adoshan, however, reads 7 and 62 weeks, so that 69 weeks would elapse. There can be no doubt that the Masoretic text punctuation is correct. Separating the 7 weeks and the 62 weeks is the only valid reading of the text. The etnac is a major pause in the Masoretic Hebrew text, comparable to a semicolon or a period, signaling a real break. Collins affirms that verse 25 divides it into 2 distinct time periods, not one continuous 69-week span. This is clear. The scholars know. 2 strikes down. The 3rd strike and he's out. Problem. Hakah's understanding, according to Hakah's understanding, the Messiah's death doesn't happen after 69 weeks. Using 444 BCE plus the 483 years, if you use it that way, you would end up in 39 AD. Jesus, Yahushua, died from 30 to 33 AD according to scholars. That means Jesus was cut off before the 69 weeks ended, which contradicts Daniel 9:26. After the 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. The cutting off happens after the 62, or in Hakah's understanding, the 69 weeks, not during them. If your time period, according to 483 years from 444 BCE, ends in 39 AD, that's after Jesus' death. It's supposed to be before. Conclusion, his math is forced, and it does not land precisely on Jesus' death. The Messiah dying before the time period ends is a big problem. Not just off by a couple years, it's off in general. Strike 3, you are out, Hakah. Your math does not work. It's forced. But one more strike just for the hell of it. Problem. In Hakah's understanding, Titus Vespasian confirms this week-long covenant in 66 CE, the start of the first Roman-Jewish war till 73 CE. Why Titus cannot be the he that confirmed the covenant? 1, Titus was not in command in 66 CE. The war began in 66 CE under Emperor Nero. not under Titus. Vespasian, his father, was initially put in charge. Titus only assisted as a military subordinate under his father until 69 CE.
Look at him start to Google it. He still, when I started getting into that, he was like, he got nervous. He started to Google it. Oh, let me see if that's true.
You're done. Go ahead, Hakah, Google that. I have it right at the side of the screen for you. Titus does not take supreme command until mid to late 69 CE. After Nero's death in the year of the 4 emperors, Vespasian becomes emperor in 69 CE. Only then did Titus take over as commander in Judea. So, if the covenant began in 66 CE, Titus could not have confirmed it. He neither had the rank, the authority, nor the presence to do so. 3, Titus left the war before 73 CE. While the war officially ended in 73 CE with Masada's fall, Titus returned to Rome after the temple's destruction in 70 CE, not staying the remainder. That means he was only active for about 1 to 2 years at the height of the conflict, not the full 7 years. Remember, this is a 7-year-long covenant that this man has to confirm. Titus was not around for 7 years during this time period. Now, this is the 7-year period that Hakah says is his covenant.
30 seconds left.
Titus, he was not there in the start in 66. How can he confirm it? That is bad work. What are you doing? He not only didn't start it, he left and returned to Rome before the 7-year covenant end. This is bad work, Hakah. This cannot be Daniel's last week. Titus did not confirm it. He wasn't there in 66 CE. And at the end of the 7 years, he was not around. Done. Body bag.
Woo!
Time.
Woo! Hey, my second round, like when you do your homework and you know what your opponent is going to say, everything he went through in his first round, I debunked it in my response round, in my rebuttal round. Everything. His 7 weeks, the Titus Vespasian, horrible. Get that up out of here. Destroy that. His start date, 444. As the time that the decree went, get that up out of here. The work was already started to be done before 44. That can't work. Booyah, get that up out of here. Destroy this man. Destroy them. All right, so if I'm gonna give myself a grade, on my second round, I'm gonna give myself a 9.5. The reason why I give myself a 9.5, if y'all paid attention in Hakah's round, and anybody that's been paying attention to Hakah's understanding, and during this debate, he changed his stance on one part of Daniel 9. I literally made him change his stance for this debate. What he went from the regular years to solar years or prophetic years in this debate, which that wasn't his viewpoint a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. That wasn't his viewpoint. So from 444 to 39 CE, it doesn't fit because it goes longer when you do the regular math. So he tried to add a little twist to it. And come up with these prophetic years. So he changed it from 39, the end of it happened in 39, to 32. Right, that's what he changed it to in the debate. And my rebuttal round, I responded to his old understanding, but for this debate, he changed it. So one of my strikes, it kind of, for the debate, for his new stance, it kind of didn't land because he changed his viewpoint, just to be fair, for the debate, right? But the other 3 strikes landed. So this is why I give myself a 9, right? I wasn't expecting him to change his stance. I was expecting him to keep the same stance, in the debate he changed his stance, which, okay, it's fair, you can do that. So I'm gonna make a video on that, how I'm gonna put the video of him with his original stance, and I'm gonna put him with his new stance. So this is why I give myself a 9.5, because I could have left that part out of it for the debate and just went to the next strike, but it was so good, and I made him change his stance, so I wanted to put it in there. So this is why I give myself a 9.5, just because of that. Right? There's no fault of mine. He just changed his stance, right? He tightened it up a little bit. All right, so that's why I said I give myself a 9.5. But other than that, that round was spectacular. I'll try to be fair, that round was spectacular. All right, so we're going to get into the bottom of the second. We're going to get into the bottom of the second. This is Hakah's turn.
Bad, I got kicked out right at the 1 minute mark. Appreciate that, Gdal, for stopping right on time. I'm going to reset to the 10 minutes. If the audience can put in the chat how you guys felt Gdal did in round 2. Make sure you guys support his business, Prolific Wellness Touch, that manages pain as well as focuses on neuromuscular therapy. So,
and shout out to everybody over there on TikTok. I see y'all. I see y'all, my boy David in there. Yeah, Dave, I had to destroy him. Yeah, shout out to everybody over there on TikTok showing love.
Make sure you guys just simple Google Prolific Wellness Touch, and you'll find Gdal's business. We are about to move into the second half of round 2. Priest Hakah, can I get a mic check, brother? Can I get a mic check?
Mic check.
All right, we got Priest Hakah up. We got the 10 minutes up. Would you be utilizing a PowerPoint?
Yeah, I sure am. Take that off the screen. Take that off the screen. That's satire. I'm gonna have to charge him for using my imagery, my name, image, and likeness. Let's go.
Let's get that up on the screen if you can, Brother Garfield.
Now watch this, y'all.
We got Daniel 9, 70-week prophecy.
Oh man.
What was the time period that it happened in? Was it the time period of the Romans, the time period of the Greeks? Priest Hakah,
your screen.
make sure you locked in.
Just your screen, Hakah. I'm sorry, Corey.
Okay. No, you good. We all up here. Man.
Is my screen good?
Yeah, we just want to make sure your screen is seen properly and it's large enough. I don't know if that's large enough for YouTube though. Is that? Hold on. Let me look at my phone real quick. Hold on.
Let me know if y'all can see that.
I don't want you to have. I want you to have the same type of.
No, don't worry. It's good. Let me see.
It's still low, but I mean, can you guys on YouTube see it clearly? I just want to make sure you could see it clearly. That's all I.
Yeah, hit the chat.
Where's the
sound? It's not. Let me go closer. What about that?
All right, yeah, that's good. That looks better.
Okay. You just gotta make sure you're not missing. Gotta make sure you're not missing anything on your PowerPoint though. That's it.
Okay. I don't have a PowerPoint. I'm just going over some texts.
Okay, got you. So yeah, it's much closer.
Corey to pause if you want to change scriptures. All right, so you don't use them.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, we can do that. No problem, I can do that. The time will start when you start in your second round, Priest Hakah.
All right, let's go. This man is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I'm gonna explain to you guys. He told all you guys, his flunkies and followers, that the time period couldn't start with Artaxerxes in 444 BC because he said that Artaxerxes only built the wall. This how you know this guy is here just to be a liar. He's not about truth. He's not about sincerity. In Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 4, it says, then in verse 5, and I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city. You guys hear that? The city. That I may build it. What's the it? The city. This guy just lied and said, oh, Nehemiah only was sent to build the wall by Artaxerxes. He's a liar. He's not here for sincerity. He's cloud chasing, but he's about to get stomped out. Now, let's keep going. Here's the source. This is what we knew his whole breakdown before we started. He himself in the head.
Pause the time.
Yeah, I'm pausing right now.
You see what happened, right?
Yeah, so his mic started to mess up, but as you guys can see, he started off. I'm not gonna stop his first round. They just getting the sound together. But as you can see, he started off his first round lying. I clearly said that Nehemiah built the wall and finished the building of his city, which was started already. But he started off lying.
It was only when you really raised your voice. So you might have to check your mic level or something. But it was only when you really raised your voice we couldn't hear you at all.
Yeah, your mic is good where you thought normal.
Okay, let's do this. Yeah. Let's do this. This should be better. I was yelling and screaming. Start me from the top. Let's start this over. I'll go through the same one. All right?
All right, cool.
All right, we're going to start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so like I was saying, this guy is an ultimate liar and a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he got to die today. And you guys who follow him should be mad at him because he was going to give you some information that was going to get your ass tore up. He tried to go to Nehemiah chapter 2 and lie to you guys, lie on the word of God. He's so Tanakh only and Yah only, but hey, he don't have the Holy Spirit. He going to say that Nehemiah Artaxerxes only gave the commandment to rebuild the wall. Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 5 says, and I said unto the king, if it please the king, and if thy servant had found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city, not just the wall, the city of my father's sepulcher, that I may build it. What's the it is talking about? The wall. No, the city. So he's just disingenuous. He's not sincere. Again, he's just here to clout chase. He's not the versus champion. He's a liar. Now, he used the Bible timeline, a fatal mistake, and just committed suicide against himself. He used the Bible timeline as conventional chronology. Who does that? The same Bible timeline he's using says that Jesus Christ resurrected in 30 AD. Now, I dare this guy. I dare this little baby to sit up here and say Jesus resurrected in 30 AD. So even his source, he would disagree with his source. The same source that says Jeremiah 24 was 588 BC, and that's when he says the 70 weeks starts, is the same source that says Jesus resurrected in 30 AD, and this nigga don't believe that. But he gonna use this source, though. That's what you call kamikaze suicide mission. Now, let's go up to where it says Jeremiah 24 started at. The Bible timeline, this is how you know, I said pseudo-scholarship. The Bible timeline, Bible Hub says Jeremiah 24 is 588 BC. How can it be 588 BC when we look at Jeremiah 24? If he read the Bible, he wouldn't use these faulty pseudo sources. Jeremiah 24 and 1, he's done. The Lord showed me, and behold, 2 baskets of figs were set before the temple of the Lord, after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah. This happens after when Jeconiah is sent into exile and Zedekiah is raised up in his position. That is 597 BC. He will not find one scholarly source. Look at me, Gdal. Look at me, nigga. You won't find one scholarly source that says Jeremiah 24 was 588 BC. I dare you. And you're going to have to deal with this in the cross-examination, my boy. Now, I got 3 scholarly sources that says it's 597 BC when Jeremiah 24 was written. So his math is not mathing because he has a fake source that says 588, and this is not even the going forth of the commandment to rebuild Jerusalem. This is a prophecy here. This isn't the going forth of the commandments to rebuild Jerusalem. It's a prophecy, and it's written in 597 BC according to 3 scholarly sources that I have here. This is Jeremiah. It talks about the timeline of Jeremiah. Where's it at? 597, between the 597 BC. Look at it. Jeremiah 24, 597 BC. Kaufman's commentary. Jeremiah 24, 597 BC. The chronology of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 24, 597 BC. These are 3 scholarly sources. When he crosses me, I'll give him the sources. He's over with. Now, Jeremiah 24, I want to talk about this even some more. He said, I want everybody to hear this. He said that Jeremiah 24 and verse 6 was fulfilled when we went back to Babylon. Let me show you guys how much of an idiot this guy is. And when we got back to Babylon, according to the book of Ezra chapter 9, we were in captivity still. Look what it says. And I will build them up and not pull them down. And I will plant them and not pluck them up. Gdal. How are we getting built up when we're in captivity to the Persians? Ezra chapter 9 and 9 says we're in captivity to the Persians. Nehemiah chapter 9 says we're in bondage to the Persians. How in the hell are we getting built up if we're getting oppressed and stomped out and plucked down and stomped down in captivity? He don't understand the prophecy. And then it says, I will plant them and I will not pluck them up. What happened after the Persian era?
5 minutes left.
What happened after the Persian captivity? We went into slavery and went exiled to Greek provinces. So we were plucked up again. He cannot use this. Then he tries to go to his 62 weeks starting at 6:05. Let's go to Daniel 9 and show you guys how he doesn't even believe in his own translation. Look at the JPS Tanakh. He's just disagreeing with all of his sources. How in the hell in the JPS Tanakh does Daniel 9 and 25 say that the 7 weeks start first? You guys hear that? Gdal, you hear that? The 7 weeks start first. You got the 7 weeks starting at 588. Then the 62 weeks are supposed to start after that, but he's got the 62 weeks starting at 6:05. When Daniel 9 doesn't even say that the weeks start at the beginning of Babylon. But he said, oh, the weeks start at the beginning of Babylon. He's now rewriting Daniel chapter 9. You can't do that, boy. You're in the big leagues now, and you have to deal with this on the cross-examination. What else did he say? Some of my rebuttals here that I'm going to have to get to. Antiochus Epiphany. Oh, the 7-year covenant. And he lied to you guys about the 7-year covenant. He lied to everybody watching, Messianic Israelites and non-Messianic Israelites. He came out and said Antiochus made a 7-year covenant. Where in the hell was that in the book of Maccabees, that he made a 7-year covenant? That was a complete lie. Menelaus bribing him to kill a high priest is not a 7-year covenant. Us voluntarily becoming Hellenized is not a 7-year covenant. That was a lie. Then he cannot explain how Daniel 9 at the end, when it says the consummation, let's pull that up. The consummation. What does the word consummation mean, Gdal? It's in the Masoretic text. Look at what it means. Complete destruction. He straight bypassed the language of Daniel 9 that it's supposed to be complete destruction after the end, when the weeks end. Antiochus didn't do that. Who gave us a complete destruction more? Antiochus, where we rededicated the temple 3 years later? Or Titus Vespasian, where we still have not got the land back, it's still laid waste, and the temple is still laid waste? A 3-year destruction versus a 2,000-year destruction. Who did more of a complete annihilation? Of course, it would be Titus Vespasian, the Roman Israelite wars. What else I got? So he said that the 62 weeks. Let me go up out of here real quick. The 62 weeks have to be they're not lumped together. They shouldn't be clung together. If that's the case, in Daniel 9, I want you guys to see Daniel did this methodically. And I answered his question. He tried to act like I didn't answer. He said the 62 weeks and the 7 weeks shouldn't be a continuous one block. How when he grouped them together? The reason why he's even saying 7 weeks and 62 weeks, because I said this and you're not listening. I said the 7 weeks is about rebuilding the temple and the city. The 62 weeks come after that, and that leads up to the arrival of the Messiah and his crucifixion. But he's not listening. He goes to Ezra chapter 1, and let's go to Ezra 1. Let's go to Ezra 1. Let's see if Cyrus gives the decree to rebuild the temple. No, he doesn't. I'm sorry, the city, the whole city. The city.
Minute left.
Now, in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus. And look what he says, right? He says, here we go, verse 3. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord. But the command, so he's trying to start the weeks as if this has anything to do with this, but the Daniel 9 actually says that it's supposed to be the restoration or the restoring to build the city, not the temple. So when we get to the cross-examination, he's gonna have to deal with this and many more questions and rebuttals that we have. You're not gonna make it, my man. I'll yield on that. All praise to the Most High.
All praise to the.
Okay. That was his rebuttal round. His rebuttal round was okay. The reason why I said it was okay, because at least he tried to address things, I mentioned and things I brought up. He tried. He touched on it. He tried to disagree, even though he had some horrible points. The Jeremiah 24 one was horrible. Misreading that one. The Cyrus one, and at the end, he said that Cyrus didn't give the decree to build the city, in which he fell. When you see the question round, you're going to see he fall in that sword. Pay attention. He said Cyrus didn't. In the cross-examine round, he falls and dies in that sword. And then he brought up then Daniel 9, what is it? The consummation. He tried to say that consummation, because he went to one of the definitions, complete destruction. But when you read that in Daniel 9, it's not talking about complete destruction. It's talking about the consummation of the time period of the 7 years, the end of it, the completion of it. So he misrepresent that one. But overall, for people that don't know those intricate things about how the bad arguments he made, it probably was kind of convincing to them. He was confident. He was yelling. He probably convinced some people for a little bit until we get to the question round when he dies on the sword. So I'll give his question round. I give it a 8, 7.5, 8. I give it that. If I give it an 8, I give it a solid 8, just because he tried to rebuttal. He touched on a lot of topics that I talked about. He gave a good effort, even though his arguments were weak. So I give him a good 8. So the first round, I gave myself a 10, clean 10. I think the first round was my best round. His first round, I give him, I really like his first. I give him a 7. I don't think he did good in his first round. Give him a 7. I think his first round was his worst round. His second round was his best round. So first round 10, 7, me. Second round 9.5, 8. And the only reason I gave me a 9.5 is because he changed his doctrine in the second round. So I'm up, 2 rounds, none right now. And when you for my people that's into debates, these type of debates are won and lost in the question, in the hot seat round. You can have 2 flawless 2 rounds, but when you get to that hot seat round, you can be destroyed and you can lose the whole debate, right? So we're gonna get into this hot seat round, and we're gonna see a body bag in this hot seat round. A body bag.
Most High, we're gonna stop the clock right at 2 seconds. Hey man, shout out to both brothers utilizing the time wisely. Shout out to Brother Garfield podcast for having us at the Versus platform. We got the Daniel 9, if you're just coming in, the 70-week prophecy debate, whether it took place in the Roman time period or the Greek time period. Right now, we're moving into round 3, and it's just right on time because both of these brothers don't added a little hostility and energy. So this is my favorite round, which is the questionnaire round, the hot seat round. Of course, Gdal will be asking questions first. and Priest Hakah will be on the hot seat. First and foremost, I want to be able to plug these brothers' platforms for doing excellent work in the community. Firstly, I want to start with Prolific, or Gdal Gdal, as I know him. Prolific Wellness Touch. If you can support the brother's business, just simply put it into Google. All of his credentials will pull up. Prolific Wellness Touch. They specialize in pain management and neuromuscular therapy. We also got the brother Priest Hakah focusing on children's Bibles, which is extremely dope as well. Children's Bibles, you can find that on Genesis144.com. These things take time. Certain trades take time to learn and specialize at. So support the brother Gdal, as well as it takes time to put together books and money and energy. So make sure you support Priest Hakah's works as well. Right now we in round 3, man. We got Priest Hakah on the hot seat. Both of these brothers' energy is high. Hit the chat, man. Who you got? Round 1 and round 2. That's your premise and your rebuttal. So hit the chat on who you got, man. Both. I don't know who I got right now. I might be having some private conversations with some people. I can't ever publicly say it, but hit the chat on who y'all got, man. I want to see who y'all swaying, because round 3, everybody know round 3 on the verses. Though you really laid your premise down in the first 2 rounds, it kind of dictated a little bit. So just to go over the rules for everybody to come back in, because now the debate switches up a little bit, and both brothers.
And shalom to the chat. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Before we get into this question round, I want to tell me how y'all judge the first 2 rounds. Let me know. I want to know. Whoever's in here, let me know. What was y'all judgment of the first 2 rounds? Give me the critiques. Give me what y'all thought. Let me know. But shalom to everybody in the chat. Shabbat shalom.
Mics may be open at the same time. Gdal will have Priest Hakah on the hot seat first. Priest Hakah, all you can do is give answers, no questions. Gdal, you will be sending out questions, and you can also make points. You got 20 minutes to do so. I'll switch it up just a little bit. I'll call time at 10, 5, and 1. I'll do it 10, 5, and 1, very similar to round 1 and round 2, but I'll just add the 10-minute marker as well. 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left. I'll do that. Also, I'll be calling the answer time. If you guys...
Is the volume too? I think that's just him. His mic's low. Let me know if it's low. I got everything turned all the way up.
Extend up to 2 minutes. I'll be calling that time as well, and I'll just simply say 2 minutes up on your answer, and then it'll bounce back to the person who's asking the question. Person who's asking the question, though energy may be high, I will hold you to not talk over the other brother. So just for clarity, on Gdal's end, I will hold you to not talk over the other brother, even if you feel like he's not answering your question. He has the space to answer exactly how he would like to.
Is the volume good? I hear one person saying they can't hear anything. Is the volume good? I got everything turned up. Okay.
Answer. Besides that, let's advance into the other set of rules in terms of the answering. The brothers on the hot seat, if you are asked a yes or no question, and yes or no is in the question, you must start your answer off with yes or no, and then you have the space to answer. You are allowed to answer and say, I don't know. But if you say, I don't know, I don't know, bounces back to the person who's asking the question. You can't explain your I don't know. So it's just I don't know, bounce it back to the person who's asking the question, and then they can continue. Also, in terms of the other one, no rhetorical like answers, no rhetorical question like answers. You can't add a question mark in there. We're gonna stop the time and reset you, and then have the person who's asking the question restate their question and continue. Any questions for any one of you guys?
Nah, let's get it.
All right, let's get it. Gdal, your mic is good. Got a mic check going on right now. We good. All right, we got
the money.
For Gdal.
Hey, Abishai, you should have gave him your understanding of something, man. He definitely fumbled. Now, if y'all can't hear, let me know, man. I hope the volume is good.
Oh, we got some people for Priest Hakah. It's kind of even balance in the chat, man. Both of you brothers is cooking. Gdal, it's on you to. Are you sharing the screen or anything, Gdal? Or you good?
No, I'm.
All All right, good deal. So, Gdal is on you to start your questions. As soon as you start the questions, I am going to start the time, and I will stop to reset us. So everybody just yield to the moderation, regardless of what your emotions may be telling you to do. All right, Gdal is on you, King.
All right, my first question. What nation did Daniel directly say would cause the sacrifices and the oblations to cease?
Well, Daniel chapter 9 is going into the Roman time period. So I'm not sure what your question is predicated on.
In Daniel chapter 8, who does Daniel say will cause the sacrifices to cease? Directly by name.
Okay, well, I got to look at Daniel 8, so let's take a look at it.
You see, my first question. This is a simple question. Everybody that read the book of Daniel should know it's the Greeks. I don't know if he's just wasting time or he genuinely never read it and didn't know. But this is the teacher, though. This is who they follow.
Okay. Daniel 8. I have to ask what verse, or I'm just going to be looking.
That's fair. I'll stop the time.
I thought you would know it, my bad. But it's Daniel chapter 8.
Just to say right quick, I stopped the time. That was the only thing that I was gonna say before.
Okay, yeah. You can keep the time going. I see it.
Yeah, but just try to call out the verse that'll kind of help us move it along, if y'all can.
Okay, got you. Okay, you can roll the time. So for one, I'll answer the question. In Daniel 8 and 11, this right here is speaking about the Greeks. But the debate, let me just read it. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the places of his sanctuary were cast down. Now, I don't disagree that Antiochus is the fulfillment of the dedication, and that is spoken of in Daniel chapter 8 and in Daniel chapter 11, and I believe Daniel chapter 12. But the title of this debate is not Daniel 8. The title of this debate is not Daniel 11. The title of this debate is the Daniel 970 weeks. So to conflate this shows why you're on a rudimentary level.
Does Daniel name by name any other nation that would take away the sacrifice? And that's a yes or no question.
In Daniel chapter 8, it doesn't name it by name. It doesn't even name it by name right here in Daniel 8 and 11. So can you clarify your question?
In Daniel 8, he specifically identifies the he-goat that takes away the daily sacrifice as the Greeks. He does name them by name. Now, in the entire book of Daniel, when he talks about the daily sacrifice being taken away, outside the Greeks, do he name any other nation?
No, he does not. But the fact that Daniel 9 is talking about the Roman period, Daniel chapter 7, the fourth beast is the Romans. It doesn't mean Daniel's prophecies stop at the Greek captivity or the Greek subjugation or time period. It does go past that into the Roman Empire. And so to say that is another fallacy. And even in Daniel chapter 8, it says it was rebuilt. In Daniel chapter 9, it said consummation, meaning total annihilation and destruction, where it would never be rebuilt.
Okay. How many abominations of desolations does Daniel prophesy about?
I believe he speaks about one in Daniel chapter 9. And then I also believe it is in Daniel chapter 11. So I think Daniel talks about the abomination of desolation twice.
All right. Is that the same abomination of desolation, or is that two separate abominations of desolation?
For me to say that it's the same abomination of desolation would be for me to agree with your position. You're asking questions that you already know the answer to. So those are two separate abomination of desolations.
Okay, great. Now in Daniel chapter 9,
and I wanna say this, for the people that want to get into debates, Every question on your hot seat round does not have to be a haymaker. This is chess. Those first two questions, I'm setting up the third and fourth question. This is chess. I'm digging a hole, and he's following me blind. He doesn't know where I'm leading him, but I'm asking him questions that I already know the answer to, that I know he knows how to answer, just to get him to a certain point where I can throw the haymaker. This is important. If you don't have if you don't use strategy with these questions, and you just try to write a bunch of haymaker questions with no strategy, it's not going to work. So those first couple questions are just strategy to move. I'm asking about the Greeks. I'm asking about the abomination of desolation, so I could get him somewhere. Remember, it's strategy in these question rounds.
Keep mentioning this consummation. Verse 27. It says, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Now, it's desolate. The city and everything is desolate. What was determined that's poured upon the desolate?
The prophecy stating that Jerusalem, the city, the land and the temple and the people would be utterly destroyed and desolated.
Oh, I don't think you understand my question.
And these first couple questions, he's not handling them well. The first question about the Greeks, he didn't know Daniel named the Greeks by name to take away the daily sacrifices. That already tells you, okay, Daniel said the Greeks would do it by name. Daniel doesn't say anything about the Romans doing this. That's one cut. I asked him about this ending of Daniel, the consummation, what's going to be poured on the city after it's desolate. He doesn't know this. These are little things he doesn't know. This is all strategic till we get to the next couple questions.
It's already desolate in Daniel 9:27. It says, even unto the consummation, that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. It's already desolate. What is poured upon the desolate?
Okay, Daniel 9:26. And after 62 weeks, shall the anointed one be cut off and be no more, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, but his end shall be with the flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. So the translation that I'm reading, which is your translation,
27.
doesn't work. 27. Okay. And he shall make a covenant with many for 1 week, and for half of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and offerings to cease. Upon the wing of the detestable things shall that which caused the appallment, and that until the extermination wholly determined be poured out upon. So this still is not matching with your translation. Either way, I'll just say what I believe it means. 70 AD was a destruction, and then the complete destruction would come after that as well. So it's a 7-year war. That's why it says until the end, there will still be war. So it doesn't just stop in the middle of the week at 70 AD. The war continues. And that's why it's 66 to 73, the 1 week fulfilled in the Roman Jewish wars.
All right, so what he's having a trouble with, it says that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. The city is desolate, and something determined was poured upon the city. What was determined? Verse 24, to anoint the most holy place. That's supposed to happen after the abomination of desolation. So he's struggling to answer.
Are you teaching me? I know. Are you asking me questions or are you teaching?
Moderator, why is he cutting me off?
He was so befuddled and baffled. He started breaking the rules of the debate. And I ain't even really turned the hot water on yet.
I'm coming back in. I'll just pause the time. He is allowed to instruct on a point. He's not held to ask a question.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, so the time can start back whenever you start back, Gdal.
So he's struggling to show and explain what's poured upon the desolate. And in the translation he was reading, it said that determined shall be poured on the desolator. So it's telling you the person that desolates the city shall get a judgment according to the translation he's reading. But in the KJV, that translation that he's purposely not reading, it says that shall be poured upon the desolate. So we know the city and the temple and everything, the most holy place, was supposed to be reanointed after that. So you're struggling with that.
And that's important because in 73 CE, the temple was not rededicated and rebuilt. That's why he's struggling. That's why he doesn't want to admit what's going on there. Because at the end of this time period, there's supposed to be a renointing, a rebuilding. There's supposed to be something that, removes the abomination of desolation. And that doesn't happen at the end of 73 CE. This is why he's drowning right now. Because it clearly says that determined shall be poured on the desolate. What was determined? That it would be reanointed. That didn't happen after 73 CE. That's bad work.
Now, you said Titus Vespasian confirms the covenant in 66 CE. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. He confirms the covenant. The covenant is dealing with the curses from the old covenant, which is why in Daniel chapter 9, verse 11, it talks about the oath. And if you listen to my slides, you'll see that the oath is interchangeable with covenant. So yes, he confirmed it.
Okay, so how can Titus Vespasian confirm the covenant in 66 CE when he wasn't on the scene or active in Judea or with the Jews in 66 CE?
The fact that he acted as the execution arm of his father, he still was leading military legions. And so I'm not sure if you knew that or not. That's how it works. A king and his son acts as the executing arm of the father. And so the sources will show that that he was the one in command. And there is a source from 67 that says 67, but either way, that's still around that week period.
So if y'all just paid attention, he said Titus Vespasian to confirm the covenant 66 CE. I asked him, how can that be when he wasn't on the scene? He said he was working under his father. He called his father the king. So he calling him his father the king, he's saying his father was emperor in 66 CE. That's what he's saying, which doesn't align with history. But watch, it gets worse.
Okay, are you saying that Titus Vespasian father, Vespasian, was Roman emperor in 66 CE?
I'm answering the question that you asked me. You said, do I believe that
That was
Titus
another
the one that fulfilled the covenant?
Are you, yes or no? If you're saying Titus Vespasian was acting on behalf of his father and following his father's command in 66 CE, are you saying that Titus' father, Vespasian, was Roman emperor in 66 CE?
No.
Okay, so how can Titus Vespasian's son, be acting under orders of his father in 66 CE to confirm a covenant in 66 CE when neither one of them were in power or around during that time period in Judea?
They were generals. So even if they weren't, if you're a general, you still have power. If you're a general, you are moving off of the emperor. So yes, they were still in power. They were still leading the revolt and sent to crush Israelite rebellion.
So, do you know that in 66 CE, Vespasian or Titus were not on the scene during that time period? It actually was Roman governors Gessius Florus and Cestius Gallius. Vespasian, Titus Vespasian or his father was not on the scene. Your math is cut. He cannot have confirmed that covenant in 66 CE because neither one of them were on the scene. They had nothing to do with Judea until 69 CE. You're done. All right, my next question.
Yo, he literally just died. That is a dead body sitting in front of us. His whole argument 66 CE. The last 7 week is from 66 to 73. Titus Vespasian confirmed it. Titus Vespasian was not he was not there in the beginning of the revolt. After those two generals, one got ran away, the other one I think he unalived. That's when they call Vespasian in to help. This was 2 years later. How can he confirm this covenant? He wasn't. Hakah just died in front of us. Let's get back to my questions. All right. My next question. At the end of the weeks, the person or the people that... No, I don't want that one. All right. Where did you get the understanding of solar years in Genesis chapter 1?
In Genesis chapter 1,
Yes.
I didn't reference Genesis chapter 1. Solar years, dealing with the years that we would go by, these 365-day years. I went to Revelation chapter 11 and other places in the Bible that go into prophetic years. And even with the flood of Noah, I believe, the math and the months that it gives shows 30-day months. So that would be prophetic years, 360-day years.
All right. So according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14,
10 minutes.
God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." Isn't it true that both, according to that verse, both the moon and the sun are for signs, seasons, days, and years?
If you're taking that literal, that would be a problem. So I don't have your position that the 7-day week creation in Genesis 1 was a literal time period. So I don't take that position. I believe that those days in Genesis 1 are 1,000-year periods. And we prove that by Second Ezra that says the world was divided into 12 parts. So creation did not take 7 literal days. So you are asking me a question based on your own presupposition and preconceived notions. I don't hold that position.
I didn't ask you about the days in Genesis 1. I asked you about this specific verse. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years." 16. And God made 2 greater lights, one to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. That is talking about the sun and the moon. According to that verse, isn't both the sun and the moon for signs, seasons, days, and years? Yes or no?
For signs, seasons, days, and years, I wouldn't take that literal because other places.
I'll stop the time. It was a yes or no question.
Salakia.
We'll just let them restate, and then you can
Okay, go ahead.
the time will start back, Gdal, after you ask the question. Once Deacon start talking, the time will start back.
In Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, 15, and 16, God said he made a lesser light and a greater light to rule the day and the night. We know that's talking about the sun and the moon. He also says those 2 lights were to dictate signs, seasons, days, and years. That tells us that's a lunar solar calendar, not a solar calendar. So I'm asking him, yes or no? Doesn't this verse clearly say the lesser light and the greater light are for days, seasons, years?
Yes.
Thank you. So that cuts
Look, hold up.
his whole point going this solar calendar.
Wait, I can say
He just cut. He didn't just cut himself. I gave him the knife and he cut himself. His whole understanding that he updated to during this debate was the solar calendar. Solar is the sun. We went to Genesis 1 and 14 to show that the Israelites didn't go by a solar calendar. They went by a lunar solar calendar, both the moon and the sun on their calendar. Lunar solar. He just died again. again.
Yeah,
So there is not.
I get to expound. I get to expound on my yes, right?
Yes, you
So
get
let me,
that.
okay,
He
the
just
water, the water, the water, the water. So yes, I do agree with that. But the fact that I can show 360-day years, prophetically speaking, in the Old Testament and New Testament, still qualifies and validates my point.
Okay, so like we just said, he said yes. Genesis 1 and 14, this tells you the sun and the moon are for times, seasons, days, and years. That is a lunar solar calendar. So him trying to flip Daniel 9 into a solar calendar when Daniel 9 doesn't say it's a solar calendar, that's his own interpretation, misinterpretation. That's false. So we just proved his solar calendar is trash. We just proved his last week, 70 week is trash. That cannot be the first Roman Jewish war. It's all bad. All right. Your 62 weeks that you have, when is the start of the 62 weeks?
The 62 weeks are contiguous one block to the 7 weeks. So I calculate them all together as one block. And so that means the 69 weeks would start at 444 BC. And that goes into Nehemiah chapter 2. When you lied and said, oh, it was just a wall, that was actually the city, not just the wall. So it starts there.
Okay, great. So if it starts from there and you would subtract these lunar solar years from that, you get to 39 CE. 39 CE is after the death of Jesus. Daniel 9 says the Messiah happens after the 62 weeks. So how can Hakah's understanding be correct? If his 62 weeks ends in 39 CE and Jesus dies from 30 to 33 CE, that means the Messiah dies before the 62 weeks, but Daniel 9 says the Messiah would die after the 62 weeks. Bad work. So I have another question.
I'll pause the time, Gdal. Just one thing that you keep doing. It's like
Teaching.
it's kind of like rhetorical. I don't mind the teaching. Both of you guys are allowed to teach, but you keep saying, "How can you know what I mean?" It sounds like a question, and then you go away.
And then he answers it himself.
Allowed to address it. So
Right.
this is just your second time doing it, so it's kind of light. So just watch the way that you phrasing on whatever statements you making. I know it's a statement, but stop twisting.
Unless you want me to answer it.
All right, got you. All right.
No,
According to the Bible,
back once you start.
all right, God. Who does the Bible say would get credit for giving the word to rebuild the city? Cyrus or Artaxerxes?
Well, Cyrus did not give the decree to rebuild the city, so I couldn't agree with Cyrus. But anyway, let me just finish this though. I would not agree with Cyrus on that. I have to talk about this real quick. I need to let me incorporate, moderator. Can I incorporate answering this into like my understanding of the week system and where it started from?
Yeah, in the answer section, the only thing that you held down to is yes or no, and then not sending back questions. You can say what you want to say in your 2 minutes. It's anything. You can say whatever you want.
Okay, got you. The water. Okay, so can you repeat the question? You can keep the time going.
All right. I asked you, who does the Bible directly say would get credit for saying his city and things would be built? Cyrus or Artaxerxes? That is a direct question. Please answer that question.
I'm not sure who it says, if it's Cyrus or Artaxerxes, but what I do know is, according to the edict that Cyrus gave in Ezra chapter 1, he did not say anything about rebuilding the city, as Daniel chapter 9 says, when it says in verse 25, know therefore and understand
minutes left.
that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. So the commandment is to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, not Cyrus's edict to just rebuild the temple. So when you deal with these weeks, again, they are solar years. not lunar solar. These are solar prophetic years. So it comes out to 32 AD. He keeps saying 39 AD. I didn't say that. He's trying to put words in my mouth. I did the math that shows 32 AD, exactly when the Messiah was on the scene and was crucified.
Isaiah 44, verse 26. Look, he's about to die again. Yeah, I just heard him say Cyrus did not say to the city that was going to be built. He just said it directly. Watch he die again.
Thus saith to Cyrus, he is my shepherd. He shall perform my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built. Is this a false prophecy, or did Cyrus say this? Matter of fact, is that a false prophecy, yes or no?
No, I wouldn't call it a false prophecy. But what I can say is that the temple could be incorporated, but we do not see in the actual edict. You said did Cyrus say it? Cyrus didn't say it. What did Cyrus say in Ezra 1? Did he say the city or the
So Isaiah Isaiah says that Isaiah gives the word of God. God says via Isaiah that Cyrus will be the one that gets credit for saying to his city it would be built. This man just sat there and said Cyrus didn't say it. That would be calling God a liar and calling Isaiah a false prophet. This man is literally dying because he knows this cuts him. If the Bible says Cyrus is the one that says to the city it shall be built, that means you would have to start his math from the time that Cyrus gives the decree. And if you start the time from when Cyrus gives his decree, his math falls apart like it's been doing this whole debate.
He said the temple.
Watch the rhetorical question.
Yeah, Salakia. I caught myself.
All right. So according to the Bible, according to the book of Isaiah, God, through his prophet Isaiah, tells us that Cyrus gets the credit for saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, into the temple, thou foundation shall be laid. So according to God, according to the word of God through the prophet Isaiah, it was Cyrus that gets it. And what Hakah doesn't understand, that when Cyrus gave the decree to build the temple, it's talking about everything. That's why in the book of Ezra, let me ask you this question. In the book of Ezra, does it say the children of Israel started to build the city? Yes or no?
I'm not sure. We'd have to go to and examine the passage in Ezra that you're talking about.
Okay. Every question I ask him, he's not sure. He doesn't know. Though you supposed to be the big Genesis. You're supposed to be the teacher, the leader, and you don't know what the Bible says. This is crazy.
Okay, so let's go to this. In the book of Ezra. Oh my God, got it on my. Can you pause the time since he asked me that? So I can grab this.
Quick clarification, Corey. When he asked Deacon the question, he didn't say yes or no.
Well,
he said that
I can't say everything is not a yes or no question.
Yeah, I got it. He said, I'm not sure. And it was a clarifying question because Gdal said in the book of Ezra, which is the platform is called the verses. So, you got to call out the verse. So that's what his focus is on. So he didn't give an answer. He just said, I'm not sure because of the passage. So I stopped the time. Yeah, the time is stopped. I got it. So it's just on Gdal to give a more clarifying question so Deacon can answer. It's no biggie.
Excuse me, I thought he knew the Bible a little bit. But Ezra chapter 4, verse 12, it says, they are building that rebellious and wicked city.
Okay, yeah, of course I agree with the text. Then I would but we would have to see what time period is that verse. What year?
This is before 444 BCE. This is before Nehemiah comes from Babylon. This is before Artaxerxes.
You would have to prove that.
Can you stop?
You gotta let him finish. Go ahead, Gdal.
He's dead. Okay, so we see right here in Ezra chapter 4, they are rebuilding the city before 444 BCE, before Nehemiah comes from Babylon to go and finish what they already started and to build the walls, right? So that's clear.
Okay. He's died again. We just agreed together that they started rebuilding the city. And this was before 444. This destroys his argument. Through this hot seat round, I'm literally breaking and debunking every point of his argument. This just debunked his 444 time period. He's dead. The Cyrus question I asked him debunks Artaxerxes being the one that gives the decree. He's dead. This is bad. I debunked the 66 CE time period for the last week being Titus. Dead. Done. This is bad. He really died on this hot seat, bro. Like, completely embarrassing.
Right, he didn't know that. Let's point that out. So that completely destroys his math. We just breaking it down. Now, my next question is this. If sin hasn't been ended, how can your 70 weeks be completed if that's one of the stipulations?
Anyway, the new covenant, which Yahweh's death was for, will end sin. And the fact that
he said it will end sin. It didn't have you just died. If that part is still in the future, your 70 weeks were not completed during the time of the Romans. How delusional do you have to be to not see you are dying on your own sword?
I'm even being asked this question when we cannot show sin being ended. And
Abishai, you see him, Abishai? This man is arguing that it was completed during the Roman time period, but then says the sin is not ended until the future. Then it's not completed. Abishai, what is he talking about? He trying to steal the full preterist breakdown, or the preterist breakdown, but he don't want to be a preterist.
The Greek period shows that there has to be a different interpretation of that phraseology. But either way, there's something in the Bible, or something that we use in theological terminology, called proleptically speaking. So something can be left. Something can be spoken as if it already happened before in the Bible. For example, when you go to Isaiah chapter 34, verses 1-2, we see the Most High proleptically speaking about something that has like it's already happened, but it hasn't happened yet. So it's called proleptically speaking.
This man just saying he's trying to equate when the Bible says something like, "Oh, the children of Israel has gone into exile." How that can be saying in the present context, but it's not done yet into the future. Daniel 9 doesn't say sin is ended. It says sin is to be ended. That's not even like what he just tried to do there was horrible. Right.
For the record, he says his sin has not been.
One second. I stop the time. So you got 30 seconds left. If you give out you can stop the time right here, and then it's just over. But if you want to give a clean question, he has 2 minutes to answer. He can answer. You know what I mean? So it's 30 seconds left. It's based on what you want to do.
Do I have to answer a question? Ask a question?
No, you can just use the 30 seconds to talk, and then I'll close it out. But I'll stop the time.
All right. He says his sin has not been ended. It says it will. So how can this 70 weeks be completed in his own understanding if sin has not been ended? That means his 70 weeks is still going. It has to be concluded in the future. He's done.
Going to be bouncing over to round 3 with Deacon.
Hey, my hot seat round, I give myself that hot seat round a 10. He died on every point. Every point. He struggled to answer questions. He was just wrong. I showed that he was just wrong. And he died. That was embarrassing. I don't know how he can look at that and feel like he won. I don't know how Israelite that's on his side, that's a part of Genesis, could look at that and feel like he did that well. How he didn't die. He literally died on that hot seat. And you don't even have to agree with me and my stance to see that he died on that hot seat. Now let's get to his hot seat now.
And the questions and Gdal on the hot seat, man. Put in the chat who y'all got so far. Make it clean. Put it in the chat. Everybody need to hit the chat right now. This debate, the time just went off. Let me stop that. This debate is nothing short. Let me put some respect on that. This formal debate is nothing short.
And I want to say this right before we get to it. These type of debates, when you got to sit on a hot seat and answer questions for 20 minutes straight, that is hard. And it don't matter who you are. It don't matter how knowledgeable you are, how tough you are. That hot seat round, it can get hot and it can get bad. It's very hard. So anybody that agrees to sit on a hot seat and take questions for 20 minutes straight, you can't answer no questions. I mean, you can't ask no questions. You just got to answer questions. That's hard. And every debate, because I missed the verses because I've done a lot of versus debates. I won a lot of versus debate. I sat in that hot seat a lot. And every time that hot seat round come, it gets nerve wracking. It does, to be fair. And there's nothing wrong with being nervous because you gotta sit there. You don't know what question gonna come. You gotta have an answer. You gotta be prepared. That's hard. So yeah, I get nervous. I got nervous every time. So this hot seat round, we're gonna see if I handle it well, if I answer questions well, if I died on a hot seat. Right? So we're gonna see.
Of what I expected from Priest Hakah, who has been doing ministry for many years now, over a decade, and formal debates for over that same amount of time. And Gdal Gdal, the self-proclaimed Mr. Versus, man. I really needed to see this. And we almost there. We got 20 minutes on the formal clock. Priest Hakah got the questions. Gdal is on the hot seat. Brother Garfield is out the damn way, like on mute and quiet. That's where Brother Garfield is at. Shout out to him for having us on this platform, though. Shout out to the Versus. Hit the chat. Who y'all got? Other than that, I'm gonna reset this time. I'm gonna call the time. Deacon and Gdal. I'm gonna call it at 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then time and it's over. And the last minute will be ran the same way, Deacon. You know, okay. If you got some seconds on the clock, I'll give you space. If you want to take another question, then he has the full time to give the answer. And then we can move outside of the formal debate to talk about some other stuff. But I got 20 minutes on the clock right now. I'm going to just touch on the rules again. Y'all did pretty well on that. Just had to interject a couple of times. But yes or no, you got to put in. If you put the yes or no in the question.
And definitely hit the like button. Like. Get the likes up. We gotta make sure everybody see how Deacon dies in this debate. Get the likes up.
Question. Only and only if you put the yes or no in the question, then the yes or no must start in the answer, and then you'll continue. I'll pause the time if there's any technicalities. Other than that, do not interrupt Deacon. You can't interrupt him in the middle of his answer. You got to allow him to answer in full. And other than that, no rhetorical questions on both sides. Deacon, you are allowed to make points. You're allowed to make points if you just want to teach for 2 minutes. He can't unmute and say anything. It's just whenever you want to ask a question, the space is for you to ask the question. You got it, King?
All praises, I got it.
All right, so Gdal, you still good on the mic check? We good on the mic check?
Yeah, I'm here. Y'all can hear me. I'm all set.
All right, good deal, man. So we got Gdal on the hot seat. If you just coming in towards the end, make sure you check the debate out in full. Daniel 9:70 week prophecy. What period did it happen in? The Greek or the Roman period? Both of these brothers are doing an excellent job. Put in the chat who you got. Let me plug in a prolific wellness touch. All right, my good brother Gdal focuses on pain management and neuromuscular therapy. You could just put in prolific wellness touch on Google. You'll be able to find all of his work there. So make sure you support the brother for your own needs as well as your family and friends. Also, go over to Genesis144.com for the children Bibles. If we can get a glimpse of those right quick, Priest Hakah, If you can show those right quick, the children's Bibles. Get these. Most of us got them kids running around. They're gonna need something that they can actually see. It got the visuals and everything for you. So, and it got our people from
the doctrine.
Start there you go, and the doctrine from start to end. So Genesis144.com and children's Bibles. We also got a website.
Not the 20-minute hot seat. Nah, it's not a new rule. That's been going on in verses for what 2-3 years since I've been debating on verses.
GenesisCaskets.com. That's pending to the
the 20-minute, if you don't want to ask questions, you can just go and teach for the whole 20 minutes. That's always been that way. People just don't decide to do it. People rather ask questions.
At the end of this debate, we're gonna let the people know, or we're gonna let the people decide if they want that platform to come in full fruition. So GenesisCaskets.com.
Shout out to my boy Jason in the TikTok. Yeah, I definitely feel like I had the answers every time, for sure. This is my first time rewatching it, so I'm gonna see how I looked from the outside.
Other than that, we're gonna get started. I got the 20-minute set. I got the 2-minute clock set as well.
And shout out to LaDonna in the TikTok chat. Appreciate it.
And I'm gonna try to stay unmuted as much as I can. Priest Hakah, are you sharing your screen?
Not yet. I might.
All right. If you do, Gdal, just to let you know, if he decides to share the screen, we're just gonna stop the clock so Brother Garfield can get it on to get it up. Other than that, then we're good. I knew somebody was gonna say, I don't do that. These brothers from the North, man, with this pause culture, it's crazy. I don't want to see no pauses in the chat. We're not doing it. All right. We got the time set. Priest Hakah, the time starts when you start.
Okay. All right, let's start right now. All right, so Brother Gdal, you used a Bible Hub timeline as one of your sources, yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with the source that you used that says Jesus Christ was resurrected in 30 AD? Yes or no?
According to the Bible, yes. According to the New Testament, I
pause the time. Yeah, Gdal, you got to start with yes or no in the answer. So, Deacon, if you can restate the question right quick, and Gdal, if you can start the answer off with yes or no. The time will start back when you start your answer, Gdal.
Okay. Do you agree with your own source that says Jesus Christ was resurrected in 30 AD?
Yes, according to the Bible Hub timeline, it's using the New Testament and the Old Testament. So it's giving dates based upon what this Bible says may have happened. So they're not being biased. They say, okay, the New Testament says this happened. This is the date that this may have happened. So if we're just using the Bible or using the New Testament for what it says, the Bible Hub timeline is saying this would have happened during this time period. So yes, I do agree according to what they're bringing in the Bible.
Okay. So he believes in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. All praises. All right.
I didn't even say that. Like I'm not gonna stop it too much, but the way what he just took from my answer was horrible. What I said, based on the Bible Hub timeline, they're saying this story that they have in the New Testament may have happened during this time period when they try to line it up through history. I did not say I believe in no damn resurrection, no damn Jesus. Like, come on, bro.
Is the Bible Hub timeline a scholarly source? Yes or no?
I would say yes. According to the Bible Hub timeline, it tells you they get the. Let me go grab it real fast. It says they get their information. All you gotta do is go to it and read it. It says timeline based traditionally accepted time frames and general censors on a variety of sources according to Wembling's Guide to the Bible, a survey of Israel's history, mysterious numbers of the Hebrew Kings, the ESV Bible Study, the Treasury Scripture of Knowledge, and the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia and Easton's Bible Dictionary. So the Bible Hub timeline does use scholarly sources and scholarly work to get their timeline. So yes, it is a scholarly source.
Okay, according to Jeremiah 24:1, this would happen when Jeremiah is writing this. When was Jeconiah sent into exile? What year?
I believe that was 597 or around there. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay, so according to Jeremiah 24, this is being written when Jeconiah is exiled in 597, and there's not one scholar. I need you to provide one scholar for me that says Jeremiah 24 was written in 588 BC. You got it.
See, I don't agree with your interpretation of that verse. It doesn't say that this was written after that time period. It says he got a vision that took place after that time period. So let's read
I didn't ask that question. I didn't ask that question. Pause the time. I said, show me one source, scholarly source, outside of the conventional chronology of Bible timeline. Show me one independent source that says Jeremiah 24 was 588 BC. You got the floor.
Okay, my source is the Bible Hub timeline, and I just read all the sources that they tell you.
My bad.
He's not listening.
I was on mute. My bad, y'all. I am listening. I already stopped the time at the point of the confusion when Deacon interjected. So, Deacon, you asked the question, and then Gdal, what did you do? You started to answer the question. I think, Deacon, you had an issue. What was the issue?
Let's clarify and qualify everything. I'm asking him to show me one scholarly source outside of Bible timeline that says Jeremiah 24 is 588 BC.
Okay, and I just told you, Bible Hub timeline is my source. I don't have a source outside of Bible Hub timeline right now.
I got you. So one second.
Let me just finish this off. Let me just finish this off, Corey. Let me just finish my thought off, Corey, real fast. I don't want to get cut off.
Hold on. I'm finna give you the space. I just don't want to do it outside of the time. I got you, King. Okay. I get what the issue is. The issue is that Deacon, when you ask the question, he's just allowed to answer it within the 2 minutes. So I'm gonna give you the space, Gdal, to answer it. I just wanted to start the time back when you do answer it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I'm out. I wasn't trying to interrupt you, King. I'm not trying
to. He was stopping me every time I was answering the question. If he didn't like how I was answering it, he tried to stop me. That's all he was doing, just trying to make confusion. But I was answering the questions directly.
I interrupt none of y'all, but I just want to hold us to versus rules. So, Deacon, if you could just restate the question, and Gdal, you are allowed to answer it within the space that you want to answer it. And if he doesn't answer it, Deacon, he's allowed to not answer it.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. All praises. So you can roll it. Do you have one scholarly source outside of Bible timeline that says Jeremiah 24 was 588 BC? Yes or no?
No, I do not have a source outside of Bible Hub timeline right now at the moment. The scholarly source that I am using is the Bible Hub timeline. And I just read and quoted from the other sources that the other scholarly sources that the Bible Hub timeline gets their information from. So I don't understand why he thought like that was like a gotcha question. Asking me, do I have a source outside of the source that I'm using at the moment? Like that's not like a gotcha question. Like I'm going from the source that I'm using, and then I quote from the source that I'm using other scholarly source that my source is using. So asking me, do I have a source outside of that? I don't understand how he thought that's like a crazy question right there. I think that's like I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased. I don't see it though. At the moment, no, I do not have a source outside of that.
Okay. Do you know why 100% of scholars say Jeremiah 24 was 597, not 588 BC? Yes or no?
I don't believe they say Jeremiah 24 was that.
I paused the time. He asked you a yes or no question.
Oh, I didn't hear the yes or no. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, do you know why 100% of scholars who ever existed and in the world today all say Jeremiah 24 was written in 597 BC? Yes or no?
Yes, I do. Because, and I wouldn't say all of them. What they're doing is what you're doing. They're misunderstanding Jeremiah 24. So we're going to read it. It says, the Lord showed, and behold, 2 baskets of figs were set before the temple of the Lord. So he's telling you these 2 baskets, right? And after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, carried away the captives, Jeconiah, the son of Joachim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah, with the carpenters and the smiths from Jerusalem, and brought them to Babylon. So what this verse is saying, that the Most High showed him a vision of something that happened after Jeconiah was carried away to Babylon. Verse 2, one basket had very good figs like the figs that are ripe, and the other basket had very naughty figs that could not be eaten. So he's telling you, I'm showing you a vision that happens after Jeconiah gets taken to Babylon. The scholars that he's referring to, they think Jeremiah got the vision after that. But it doesn't say Jeremiah got the vision after that. He showed him something that happens after Jeconiah get taken to Babylon. So I disagree with his interpretation of that verse.
Okay, so for the record, Jeremiah 24, there's not one scholar that would agree with him. All scholars say is 597 BC, putting his math all the way off. Now let's dig into Jeremiah 24. In Jeremiah 24 and 6, is that a fulfillment of us coming back from Babylon? Yes or no?
Yes, Jeremiah 24 is definitely a fulfillment. It says, and again, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, like these good figs, so will I acknowledge them that are carried away of Judah, captive of Judah, whom I have sent out of this place to the land of the Chaldees for their good. So it's telling you he sent people to the land of Chaldees, that is Babylon. So this verse is talking about a people that went into Babylon, and he says he will bring those people out of Babylon to do something. So yes, this was supposed to be done after Babylon for sure.
Okay, perfect. So it says, I will bring them into the land, and he will not pluck them up. Were the Israelites plucked up after we came back from Babylon? Yes or no?
Yes, because, and I already taught you this. When we go to, I'm going to go to right here, Jeremiah, right here. I'm going to go to, is that Jeremiah?
I hope we're stopping the time.
No,
all right,
so like, hold on, so like, no. His time runs if somebody's stuttering or trying to think.
Okay.
It just runs. You know what I mean?
I'm getting to the verse. So Jeremiah 8, chapter 18, verse 6. It says, O Israel, can I not do with you as the potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clays in the potter's hand, so are ye in my hand, O house of Israel. At what instance I shall speak concerning a nation or a kingdom to pluck them up or pull them down and to destroy it. If that kingdom, if that nation against whom I've pronounced this evil turn, I will repent from the evil. So in Jeremiah 24, it says he's going to take them into the land and not pluck them up. Jeremiah lets you know that if the Most High tells you this, but if you turn and do wicked, you won't get that great promise. So this is a conditional prophecy, and Jeremiah 18 lets us know that. So according to the Bible, after Babylon, the children of Israel went there and they sinned. This is why they got plucked back up, because it's conditional according to Jeremiah's own words.
Yeah, but verse 24 is not conditional. So in chapter 24 is not conditional. In Jeremiah 24 and 7, it says, I will give them an heart to know me, and they shall return with their whole heart. Did all the Israelites return from Babylon and then return back to the Lord with their whole heart? Yes or no?
No, that's why I'm teaching you about conditional prophecy. Jeremiah 18, this quotes Jeremiah 24 verbatim. If that nation against whom I have, let me read 9. If at what instance I speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom to build it and to plant it, this is what Jeremiah 24 says. If it do evil in my sight, that it obey not my voice, I will repent of the good whereif I said I will benefit from it. So Jeremiah 18 says, if I speak to you that I will plant you and build you, but you do evil, you're not getting that. You're going to get the belt. Jeremiah 24, he says, I will build you and I will plant you. But we know after Babylon, they didn't turn to the Most High. They didn't stay in the righteousness. So what? He took away his promise, just like Jeremiah said he would. It's conditional according to the words of Jeremiah. It's that easy. You don't understand prophecy.
Okay, perfect. He's saying that Jeremiah is a false prophet because he'd rather Jeremiah be a false prophet than...
Yeah. I don't understand how I answer a question cleanly and concisely. This didn't happen because according to Jeremiah, it's conditional. If Jeremiah 24 says after Babylon, he will plant them and not pluck them. Jeremiah 18 says, if he says he's going to plant you and not pluck you, but you are going into sin, he will take that blessing away. I'm saying it's conditional based on God's own word. He says, I say Jeremiah is a false prophet. This how dishonest these brothers is, man.
For his math not to math. I beg to differ. Anyway, did you just sit up here and tell everybody that Artaxerxes only commanded Nehemiah to build a wall only? Yes or no?
No. What I said was, and when I went through my PowerPoint, that the wall in the city already began to be built before Nehemiah. All Nehemiah did was come and build the wall. He was focused on the wall. That's what he was focused on. He also finished everything that Ezra and Zerubbabel and Joshua started. But the 444 BCE decree did not start it. That was my issue with it. You said the 444 BCE started it. It could not have started it if it begun already. I went through how the city and the walls were already started to be built. All Nehemiah did is come and build the city, build the wall around the city and repaired a couple things and finish the work. It didn't start from there.
Okay, so you said that according to Nehemiah chapter 2, Nehemiah only built the wall, yes or no?
No, I did not say only build the wall. What I said was he built the wall. That was his main focus. I also said he finished everything that Ezra, Zerubbabel, and Joshua started.
Okay. If y'all remember, during my second round, I replayed that part where I say Nehemiah finished the city that was started earlier before him. That was my whole point, that it was started already. It didn't start from him. He's sitting here trying to act like I didn't say that. That's why I brought it back earlier, because he's like being honest and tricky.
So is it true or is it false? Now I got to ask it different. Is it true or is it false that Nehemiah built more than the wall? He built the city too, according to the Bible. Is it true or false?
No. Let me answer that. It's false, because Nehemiah finished and completed the wall. He also finished and completed the city. He did not start the building. He did not start the building. I said this over and over. When this debate is over, I want to go back and listen. I said the decree was not only to build the walls, it was to build the city and the walls. You focused on Nehemiah at Xerxes' decree that was mainly focused on the walls, and all he did was finish what was already been built. What was already started to be built. I went to Ezra to show they started building the city already. It was stopped. I told you it was stopped. Then it started back up. Nehemiah came later to complete. I said that over and over.
Okay, cool. All praises. Can you show me anywhere in the Bible or in history that Antiochus made a 7-year covenant?
Yes, if we go to the book of the book of Maccabees, chapter, I think that's chapter 4. I can get it off the top of my head. The book of Maccabees. Let me make sure. Hold on.
And
I want to get the right.
And these be the parts of the Q&A where you have to be quick. When they ask you a question, this is why you got to study the Bible. You got to study the argument, because you have to know where things are said in specific verses and chapters. So when he asked me this, I knew Maccabees said it, and I knew it was in chapter 4, but I was confused whether it was the first book of Maccabees or the second book of Maccabees. But this those things in the hot seat where you got to know these book chapter verses, you know.
Let me get the right chapter. All right. In the second is the second book of Maccabees. All right. Second book of Maccabees, chapter 4. You see in 171 BCE that Menelaus kills Onias, and then he makes an agreement right here. It says, let me read this right here. It says, let me read it. 3 years. All right.
Damn.
All right, but he being brought to the presence of the king, when he had magnified him from the glorious appearance of his power, got the priesthood to himself, offering more than Jason by 300 talents of silver. So Menelaus goes to Antiochus Epiphanes. They come into an agreement, a covenant. That's the same thing. That he would get the priesthood from Jason. He gets the priesthood from Jason starting in 171 BCE. This is the agreement. He gives him money. He pays him. In Second Book of Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 24, Menelaus, Antiochus Epiphanes go into the agreement. He gives some money, and this is when they become Antiochans.
Okay, does the Bible say that that's a 7-year covenant? Yes or no?
Verbatim, no. It doesn't say word for word a 7-year covenant. But when you do the history, when you do the study, you know this happened in 171 BCE. Their agreement started in 171 BCE. Guess what? Your New Testament doesn't say anything about the Romans having a 7-year covenant. Don't cut me off. Your New Testament or the Bible does not say anything about the Romans having a 7-year covenant. Nowhere in history does it say the Romans and the Jews went into a 7-year covenant. You're trying to make the 7-year war a 7-year covenant. It doesn't say a covenant. But I'm showing you in the book of Maccabees that Menelaus and Menelaus and Antiochus Epiphanes, they go into an agreement starting in 171, and their agreement ends 7 years later. That is a 7-year covenant. No, it's not verbatim, but that is exactly a 7-year covenant.
Okay, a bribery to kill the high priest is not a covenant. That was a bribery. Come on now, that's ridiculous. Now, let's keep going. He couldn't prove that 7-year covenant. He can't.
You know what's the sadder part about this? This dude is a teacher. And he doesn't know that if I was looking for, hold on, let me grab this. This is my shoe. I gotta teach him like a 2-year-old. This is my shoe. If I come to my shoe and says, "Hey shoe, this is $100. Can you do this for me?" And my shoe said, "Yes, I will take your $100 and I will do this for you." This is an agreement that we just came into. This is a covenant that we just came into. Like, are you this guy is slow? When Menelaus and Antiochus Epiphanes come together and Menelaus say, "Yo, I'm gonna give you this money and you're gonna make me high priest. And for you, I'm going to make sure these people go away from the laws of their God." That is a agreement. That is a covenant. And he's a teacher and he does not know an agreement is a covenant. That is sad.
Prove that he's out of here. Now, I got to ask you a question. Who destroyed Israel more, Antiochus or Titus?
Who destroyed Israel more, Antiochus or Titus? I would say the Roman Jewish war that destroyed the temple in 70 AD was yet a greater destruction than what Antiochus did. But Daniel 9 doesn't say it had to be greater or less than the other. It does not say that at all. It just says the temple and the city had to be destroyed. That's it. And the temple and the city was destroyed in the time of the Greeks. Just because you see one is greater than the other doesn't mean anything. The Greek time period fulfills what Daniel says verbatim.
Okay, all praises to water. So the covenant, it says he will make a covenant with many for 1 week, one single covenant with many. Where's the rest of the people that Antiochus made the covenant with?
Right here in Second Book of Maccabees, chapter 4. I'm gonna show you where.
And I want to clarify my question. The same covenant. It says one covenant. So I want to see that same covenant made with many. Go ahead.
5
Got you.
left.
All right, I want to grab this verse in the Book of Maccabees where they would be called Antiochans. All right, right here, Second Book of Maccabees, chapter 4. It says, "Behold this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashion of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. So the people that wanted to join and follow the Greek customs, leave their covenant, join this covenant with the Greeks, they would be called Antiochians. This is the covenant that the priesthood started with Menelaus to turn the people from their law. That's the covenant right there. That was with many people.
Okay, so you're telling me that the covenant to hijack the priesthood and the covenant for Israelites to become Judaized is one covenant.
Yes, absolutely. When you go to the book of Maccabees, who was in control of turning the people away from the covenant was the leaders of the people. They went to the leaders to turn the people. So the priesthood were the leaders. The priesthood taught the people. So they went to the priests to do this, and the priests and the leaders would build, like I said, gymnasiums. They would do this so that the Israelites would follow. That's directly the covenant. That's the same covenant.
Okay, cool. So do you agree with the Bible that in 1 Maccabees 1, we voluntarily, ooh, that boy's sweating. I know it's hot, nigga. Hey, do you agree with the Bible that, you see me, I'm cooler than the fan over here. In 1 Maccabees 11.
For the record, I was not sweating because nothing he was doing. I was sweating because my lights were turned up so high. As you can see in the video, it's super bright. I don't know why my lights were turned up that high. They down now, so I ain't that hot today, but stop it. That was funny though.
Would you say that we voluntarily became Hellenized? Yes or no?
It was a mix of both. It was a mix of Antiochus Epiphanes coming, destroying them, and getting Jews to go against their way. And if some didn't, they would kill them. But you also had some Israelites and some Jews that voluntarily went, that didn't fight, that was with it, that was okay with the what they call it, the Greekinization of, the Hellenization of Judea. Some was okay with it, and some wasn't. It was both of them.
Okay, why does your 7 weeks start before your 62 weeks? If Daniel chapter 9 says the 7 weeks starts off the 70 weeks.
Daniel chapter 9 does not say the 7 weeks starts off the 70 weeks. Let's go there real fast. Yes. And this is the mistake a lot of people read. Let me pull up the Bible verse. Man, if I got my phone right here. Let me pull up the Bible. Daniel chapter 9, verse 26. It says, and know therefore understand that the going forth of the I'm in the KJV, of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks. And 62 weeks the city and the street shall be built in the wall in troublous times. It does not say it has to come after. Does not say that. Daniel 9 gives 3 distinct time periods. It gives us 49-year time period. It gives a 434 time period, and then it gives a 7-year time period. It does not say one has to come after the other. It does not say it's continuous. It does not say that nowhere in the book of Daniel. All it says, you have a 7-week time period, a 62-week time period, and a 1-week time period. It does not say it has to come after.
Your JPS Tanakh says that prince, his end would be with the flood. How did Antiochus, you believe that's Antiochus, which you're about to die here. How did Antiochus die?
All right, according to the book of Maccabees, it says,
hold up, before I read this verse, I was waiting for him to ask this question. The reason why I was waiting for him to ask this question, because in the Tanakh or the Bible where it says they end will be with the flood, most people mistakenly translate that or mistakenly interpret that as a flood of armies. But look at this verse that's so beautiful.
First Maccabees chapter 6, verse 11. This is Antiochus Epiphanes' words. It says, I thought with myself, into what tribulation I am come, how great of a flood of misery it is, wherein now I am, for I was bountiful and beloved. Verse 16. So King Antiochus died there in 140 in the 9th year. So according to the book of Maccabees, it describes how Antiochus died according to his sickness, how he was overflowed with a flood of misery. So Daniel 9 said he would die in a flood. Maccabees lets you know, describes his death as a flood of misery. That's what the Bible says.
Okay, Second Maccabees.
One second. I'll stop the time. You got 29 seconds left, Priest Hakah. So you can elect to, of course, just simply utilize the last 30 seconds to respond. But if you ask another question, then I got to give them the full time to answer the question.
Okay, cool.
Y'all was good. Y'all was up.
Okay, cool. All praises. So according,
shout out to y'all. So that's my boy. He Israelite Christian, but that's my boy though. He put in the chat like Gdal. That was good. That was good. That response, because that was mean. That was mean.
You saved his life, Christian Corey. You saved his life. Because Antiochus died of a sickness, not a heartache, nigga. Now, so my last question is why is if Daniel is in the middle of the 70 weeks, because you believe the 70 weeks are already going at the time Daniel was writing Daniel 9. Why the hell is he prophesying about to happen if he's already in the middle of it happening?
Well, you don't know that it's actually 2 70-year prophecies, right? One prophecy in Jeremiah says Babylon would rule for 70 years, and the other says the children of Israel would be in Babylon for 70 years. Babylon came to power before Israel went into Babylonian captivity. So it's 2 70-year time periods. In Daniel 9, Daniel lets you know that this is going on after Babylon has fallen. So when this angel gives him the understanding, this angel is giving Daniel understanding something that he's missing. He's missing that the 70 years isn't over yet. He's still in the time of the 70 years. Daniel didn't know he was in the time of the 70 years. He knew that Babylon's 70 years was over. He didn't know that his 70 years wasn't over yet. So he came to give him the understanding that, Daniel, you're still in your 70 years. And this is the true understanding of the time period. So him being in the midst of the 70 weeks is not a problem for me. I know that. Daniel knows that in his book.
All right. Genesis caskets.
Hey, the reason why I reacted like that, because like I said, hot seat rounds, answering questions for 20 minutes straight can be nerve-wracking. It's not easy. No, sometimes it looks easy, but it's not easy. Hakah died on the hot seat because it's not easy. And the reason why I reacted like that, because I expected Hakah's hot seat to be harder. I expected his hot seat to be hotter. So when I got to the end of it, and I'm like, I answered these questions easy. Like, this was the only part that I would critique myself on is I wasn't getting to my verses fast enough. That's the only thing. I had to take a couple seconds to find verses. That's the only way that's the only critique I have for myself. But my answers to his questions were good. I answered his questions clean. I didn't get cut at all in this question round. Normally, like, you'll expect to get cut at least once, like at least get caught up once. I didn't get caught up at all. The hardest part was I just had to get to my verses quicker. That's it. So when it was over, I got hyped. Like, oh, that was easy. Like, what? That's all you came with? What? That's why I reacted like that. Let me go back to it. Problem for me. I know that. Daniel knows that in his book.
Time.
All right. GenesisCaskets.com.
What are you talking about here?
Look. Before I respond and talk about this formal debate, I always ask the question before we conclude. Do you brothers would like to go into the Royal Rumble phase, one-on-one, just bare knuckle, no rules, no moderation? You're allowed to get in there, you know what I'm saying, when you want to get in there, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Would you like to have that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few more questions. I don't want to go super long, but I have a few more I kind of wanted to get off. So if he's with it, we can.
Yeah, we're like 5 minutes, something like that.
Before this debate, I told myself I wouldn't do the post-debate thing. And the reason why I don't really like doing the post-debate things is because when I debated Hassad, what was that? I think I debated Hassad about what? 3-4 years ago, something like that, 4 or 5 years ago. And the debate, he clearly lost. I clearly beat him. But the post debate, when we were going back and forth, and he kept cutting me off, and I told him to shut the F up. Everybody was saying, Gdal, you lost your composure, you crashed out, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was trying to use that point after the debate to say I lost the debate. And I'm like, yo, the debate was already over. And I told him to shut the F up after the debate because he kept cutting me off. But they used that to try to make it seem like Hassad won. Hassad uses it to try to make it seem like you blacked out, you flipped out, you clearly lost. That was after the debate. You kept cutting me off. So I don't really like doing the post debate thingies. But I only did this debate because I knew if I didn't do it, they were going to try to use that to say I was scared. Like, oh, you didn't want to continue and do the post because you were scared. So that's the only reason I did it. But I really don't like doing it because they try to use the post debate as a point for the debate. We can do that.
All right, 5 minutes. Both brothers go 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so I'm gonna set it to 5 minutes. But
They can't fuck with me, man. Now I can talk dirty now.
No, you can't. You can't do that, man. For YouTube algorithms, you gotta do YouTube.
Yo, I was hyped. I was hyped. When I get off that hot seat, I'm like, yeah, that hot seat wasn't hot at all. I was hyped. I knew I won.
For the YouTube algorithm purposes.
My bad. I ain't gonna go crazy.
Okay. Okay. So
hold on.
Go ahead,
Salaki. Before you get into it, we still do the conclusion first. I just want to make sure that y'all want to do that extra section.
Okay, got you.
Do the conclusion first.
Okay.
Formal debate. We don't want to add that section to the formal debate. So, of course, in your conclusion is 2 minutes apiece. It's going to start with Gdal, then it's going to roll over to priest Hakah. In the 2 minutes, you are allowed to say Bible verses or citations from history on things that you felt like you demonstrated and the other person did not. But make sure you say your name as well as your school of thought so people know how to follow you. I got the 2 minute time set. Gdal, quick mic check.
I'm here.
All right, good deal. And the time will start when you start, sir.
All right, so as y'all see during this debate, I showed easy and precisely the time period from the start of the 7 weeks, which is the 588 BCE to 539 BCE, exactly a 49 time period from the prophetic word of Jeremiah to the anointed one on the scene. That's not a coincidence that this was prophesied that the children of Israel will be rebuilt in their land, and exactly 49 weeks after that, Cyrus is on the scene. That's not a coincidence. I also showed from the start of Babylonian exile to the anointed one being cut off is exactly 62 weeks, 434 years. That's not a coincidence. It's easy work. That's what the Bible says. I also showed a 7-year covenant when the priesthood got into an agreement with Antiochus Epiphanes to pay him that they would turn the people of Judea into Antiochians, starting in 171, and it ended 70 years later. And in the middle of that 7 years, the same persons in Antiochus Epiphanes took away the daily sacrifice, exactly what Daniel prophesied about. I showed you the fulfillment during the time of the Greeks. Hakah, I went through and broke down his understanding clear, put the belt to it. He tries to say his 7-year covenant is the first Roman Jewish war. I showed how that cannot be. Titus Vespasian was not around in 66 CE to confirm it. I showed how he left before 73 CE. He was not on the scene for 7 years. He fell and died in the cross-examination, how he couldn't explain that. I showed clearly that his understanding is horrible. Like, it's clear, man. Like, this is easy. I got my lights on. I'm hot. I'm sweating because I'm under the lights right now. It's not because this is hard work. It's easy work. I just got my lights on me, man, and it's hot in here. This is easy work. It was easier than I thought. I thought his question round was going to be a little harder, really, because I know he a heavyweight. But his question round was soft. It was weak. It was really cold. But I mean, this is easy. I destroyed him. I mean, yeah. Nah. This is my first time watching the debate since we did it last night. After that, I was hyped. That's how you. I knew I won this debate because again, you can lose. Like, you can have the first 2 rounds. You can have splendid 2 rounds, But the debate is won and lost in the hot seat round. Telling you, that 20-minute question round, if you fumble and die in that 20-minute question round, the first 2 rounds don't even matter no more. So when I got through that hot seat round and it was easier than I expected, I answered the questions and he didn't really have no hard questions, my energy just went to the roof. I'm like, I won it. It's over. It's done. I was super hyped. I'm like, my personality is never really that hype right there. Like, I'm normally more calm and laid back, but I was super hyped. Like, my energy is on 10.
2 minutes up. 2 minutes up. Gdal, Mr. Versus is talking crazy. Hold on, let me stop that time. Shout out to Gdal, if y'all can go to Prolific Wellness Touch. You can just simply throw that in your Google and pull it up. That is the brother's business. He focuses on pain management and neuromuscular therapy, helping out the community in terms of health. So that's an excellent thing that we need in the quote unquote Black community. All right. So if y'all can support the brother at Prolific Wellness Touch, and that is Gdal, one of the challenger of the day. Rolling over to my good brother Priest Hakah of the Genesis platform, the Israelite camp. We're gonna start with his 2 minutes, and of course, Priest, with your 2 minutes, reintroduce yourself, let the people know your school of thought, and you can use Bible verses or any type of secular sources in the 2 minutes. But let us know what you taught today and what your opponent did not. The time will start when you start.
First and foremost, let's give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai for every victory, because the truth is the truth and the truth cannot be defeated. And we are commanded to defend the truth. This was a good discussion, a good conversation. I'm not going to add this to my record, as this is a tomato can, but I got paid to crush this tomato can. So at the end of the day,
Why would he not add it to his record? If you feel like you won, why wouldn't you add it to your record? That was it. Nah, I'm gonna keep this loss off my record.
GenesisCaskets.com. That website was pending, but now we're going to GoDaddy and we are making that website official. GenesisCaskets.com. Killing OT onlys. I might as well get paid for the funerals. But yeah, the 70 weeks is definitely easily provable with the Bible. I asked you guys in the intro, who sounds more convoluted, who sounds more organized and logical. The 70 weeks is 490 years. There's a separation with the last week. That's the Israelite Roman wars. In the middle of that war, we see the temple being destroyed. We see Daniel chapter 9 in the Hebrew talking about at the end of this 70 weeks, it would be utter annihilation and destruction. He admitted that. Titus Vespasian and the Romans did that. So, the math is mathing. We did our math. It came all the way to 32 AD, not 39 AD, 32 AD. And we proved these prophetic years with the Bible. He needs some paper towels under his arms. He needs some paper towels under his hat. He needs paper towels. This boy is drip. We need some Genesis deodorant. The seat got hot. He was able to, he died here, but you know what? The brother stepped up to the plate. I know a lot of Old Testament only brothers who won't have these discussions. And so, I still appreciate the brother for getting in the lion's den and being that sacrificial lamb. All praise.
Victory. All praise to the Most High. And if y'all can, go to Genesis144.com to support Priest Hakah and the Genesis brothers for the children's Bibles. If you can, show that one more time, Priest Hakah. If you can show the children's Bibles for the people who just came in. All right. Support both of these brothers and their businesses, man. They really helping out the community. We're going to go over into that 5-minute section now. I seen somebody earlier say something about Bud Crawford and Spence. That's what they think this is. My opinion is that I feel like this was more like a Crawford Canelo future thing, but I would say more so Lamont Roach and Tank Davis, man. This was about, shout out to both of you brothers for actually coming fully prepared. And I wanted to say three things. This is a people's platform when it comes to the verses. We on Brother Garfield podcast, but this is the verses platform. So this is a people's platform. So I wanted to call out three issues, maybe three, maybe four issues that I made, and I want y'all to be able to call the issues out as well, so we can get better on the moderation. And then both of the brothers who's debating and other debaters can get better. I know I had some technical issues at the very beginning. I got to make sure that I clear that up for the next time, because we got a debate coming up in 7 days. We're gonna talk about that as well. But got to clear that issue up. It was one time.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I didn't say anything
at that time because I was trying to understand the interjection, but I allowed it. So minutes later, I allowed the dog.
We got more. I got more content coming based off this debate. I'm gonna make a video about that solar day thingy. I'm gonna clip some of this up, clip some of these parts where he died at. I'm gonna put some of that in there. So make sure y'all subscribe, like the channel. And I also got a teaching on Daniel, Daniel 11 coming up. I'm doing the series on Daniel. I already did Daniel chapter 2, a full breakdown. Already did Daniel chapter 7, a full breakdown. I'm going to do Daniel chapter 8 and Daniel chapter 11. So subscribe to the channel for the great stuff that we about to discuss.
5 minutes on the pulled up right now, and I want to ask one question.
Hold on, before you go.
Who is this, man?
Garfield. Before you go, Corey, are you guys doing a clubhouse after this?
Yeah, we're gonna do it on the God First Game platform. We're gonna throw a room up, and whoever want to come in there, fight, get body slammed, all of that is going down on the God First Game platform. So be available for that. Everybody come to that. God First Game on Clubhouse. If you ain't got Clubhouse downloaded, you way behind. Download Clubhouse, put in your search God First Game. We'll have a room open, so Gdal can get slammed. If Priest pull up, he can get dumped on his head. Everybody fighting. You know what I mean? So pull up God First Game Clubhouse, and then you guys will be able to share who y'all thought won. Y'all can come on stage, flood the stage, and then we're going to talk about it in detail. I won't give my opinion because I can't. Forever, we don't do that as moderators on the Versus platform. So good question, Brother Garfield. That was the one good interjection you had, Brother Garfield. Shout out to you, brother.
Man, right? If Grand Rising Room started room, I'm going to be in there, man. So we're going to see.
Yeah. All right. We ain't got a plug. We ain't doing no extra.
Grand Rising in the building, man.
We're going to have to clip that when we
shout out to Grand Rising on Clubhouse, man. Look, if y'all want to find me outside of YouTube, outside of TikTok, I be on Clubhouse probably almost every day in the Grand Rising Room, kicking it. That's like the hangout spot every day. Clubhouse Grand Rising Room. So if y'all want to find me, y'all can find me there.
All right. Shout out to Grand Rising, man. Shout out to Grand Rising. All right, we got 5 minutes on
the. Damn, let's wait for him to come back.
Damn, Corey, man, where you at, bro? He said give him a minute because he's gonna.
Also, Salakia, I wanted to appreciate Brother Garfield. You know what I mean, letting me come. I think I came on here, but this is the first formal on Garfield's channel, so. You know, he always comes over and supports all my channels, which I got like 10 of them. So
right now, I can't even keep count, man. Damn. All I know, I press the subscribe button. I be pressing the subscribe button every time. I'm like, damn, my boy. Hey, let me say this, by the way, too, Corey, while you're coming back. Let me say this, man. I want to say I appreciate brother Hakah and Gdal for what it was a good spirited debate. Both men did their thing. I mean, I know who I feel won, and it's good to actually watch a debate because I normally don't watch a debate. I'm moderating and running around, but this was a very good debate. Very good debate. Christian Corey versus platform, how y'all set up the platform, how to ask questions and so forth. Beautiful setup, beautiful arrangement. I love it, bro. I'm going to rewatch this tonight. This was good. This was some good stuff.
And Garfield, I want to say this too. Definitely shout out to Brother Garfield because this debate almost didn't happen. You know, Hakah, you know how dudes be when they scared, they try to price themselves out. If you watch boxing, you know that the boxers try to price themselves out so they don't gotta fight. Garfield called that man bluff. Said, you know what? Since you running, take this little bread and come get your butt beat. So he got paid to get his butt beat today. So shout out to Garfield for making that happen, man.
I've never seen somebody pay to get beat up. That's crazy. But hey, it is what it is, bro. You know, you pay it for your man. It came from his pockets to you, and then you paid me, and then he got beat up. But yeah, let's get it in, man. You know,
just 5 minutes. That's all y'all want. Just 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. If it goes a little longer, it goes a little longer. But so you know.
Hold on, Hakah. 5 minutes each, or just 5 minutes? Period.
No, it's 5 minutes. They gotta fight. Right, they gotta fight.
I'm gonna shut up. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm finna start it. Then if y'all want to do 5 minutes, we're gonna press start. And then when we press start, whatever happen.
Yeah, let's press play. I want to go back into your Bible timeline source. What year do you say that the Exodus happened?
The Exodus, I use the Bible Hub timeline. They put it in, I think, 1440s. Hold on, let me double check. And from 1446, right? I put it in 1446. But depending on different timelines, different people, they have different understandings when the Exodus started. You know, so hey, it is what it is. But I go by the Bible Hub timeline. I trust in their sources they use. So that's what I use. To say 1444 BCE. Okay. My question for you is,
let me just rebut that real quick. Archaeological evidence and scholarly consensus have the Exodus at 1260 to 1250 BC. And so I'm just kind of poking in at your flawed sources that you have. This is why I asked you, do you have any source outside of Bible Hub that would give you any type of academic credentials? And you basically said you believe everything on Bible Hub, so that means you believe in the existence of Jesus Christ, Lord and Christ.
No, I don't believe in it. Well, I do believe Jesus, the man, existed for sure. He existed. He was a real person. Do I believe the narrative of the New Testament? Absolutely not. But the Bible Hub timeline takes the Bible, whether it's New Testament, Old Testament, and they give dates on when this stuff may have happened. The scholars, if you get into it, they don't believe most of this stuff in the Bible happened. Like, if we being real. So they take what they use and put dates on it. So according to 1 Kings 6, it tells you that the Exodus happened in the 408th year after the Israel. I mean, it tells you that the temple was built in the 408th year after the Exodus. So if you take when in 1 Kings, when that happened, and you add that, that's why they give you the 1446 based on the Bible itself, based on the time the Bible gives you. That's how you get it. Hold on, let me finish. Other people make different arguments. I have a question for you. I just answered 2 of your questions. I have a question for you now.
Go ahead.
How in the world do you do this with the last 7 years when Titus Vespasian, his father, was not around in 66 CE? They had nothing to do with it.
Were they around in 67? Yes or no?
The late 67. That's when they called Vespasian to come put down the revolt.
For the record, they were even if it wasn't 66, they were in 67, right?
Yeah, but yours don't start in 67. You say yours is 66.
Yeah, we haven't, but we cannot.
Roman-Jewish war is in 66 CE. If Titus Vespasian and his father was not there to confirm the covenant in 66 CE, that cannot be the start. You lose.
The focal point of the 1 week is the crushing of the temple, which happens in 70 AD. And so this is the problem when you deal with conventional chronology. Things that happened 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, you can't necessarily say that year. It has to be a circa. So for you to say that just shows that you don't even understand the timeline in history. So my question now is, how in the hell does your last week, your 7 years work when you can't even find Antiochus Epiphanes given a 7-year covenant? It says he will give the covenant. You said, well, it was he, and then it was Menelaus, and then the priesthood, and then everybody else. No, it says he, one person, singular. He shall confirm the covenant. That is one effing person. You can't find that in history or the Bible.
Yes, I do. That's why I went to the book of Maccabees. Antiochus Epiphanes, he goes to the priesthood. They start a covenant to turn the people into Antiochans. That's the covenant, to turn them. That's the agreement. That's the contract. It doesn't have to say 7-year covenant verbatim.
Okay, were we still Hellenized? Were we still Hellenized after that 7-year period? Yes or no?
No, because after the 7-year period, the Maccabees came.
30 seconds left.
They went through the land. They killed everybody that was against the Torah. They killed everybody that was pro-Hellenized. They rededicated the temple. They did this during the time.
This guy just said that no Israelites were Hellenized after the Maccabees came. That is ridiculous. It doesn't say 7 years anywhere in history or the Bible that Antiochus made that agreement. He's here.
Doesn't say anywhere in history that Titus Vespasian made a 7-year covenant with the Israelites. Yes or no?
Let me answer this. Let me answer that. Let me answer that last thing for him. He takes the covenant. You're taking the covenant to be like an actual agreement. I'm interpreting. Listen, brother. I'm interpreting it as Titus Vespasian destroying the Israelites and confirming the old covenant curses, not a written agreement. That's the difference. But all praise to the Most High.
That did not happen for 7 years. You're done. You're cooked. He's making it up. That did not happen for 70 years. Get this man out of here. Get his hat the fuck out of here. Get his shirt the fuck out. Get on.
Hey, he's overcompensating. He's overcompensating for his rudimentary performance. He's overcompensating for his rudimentary performance. I'm not like that, y'all. I'm gonna re-upload this, so I need this to be class. Show some class next time, man. I thought you was a world-class fighter. Show some class next time. But I appreciate it, y'all. However you guys want to close it out, let's close it out.
I got that boy humble right now.
Shout out
that boy.
To the Versus platform, man, and Brother Garfield podcast coming together to make this form of debate happen. We have Priest Hakah versus the good brother Gdal, Gdal. When it comes to Daniel 9, the 70-week prophecy, did it take place in the time period of the Romans or the time periods of the Greek? If you guys come back, play this later, send this off, share it, let other people see it and view it. This was a high-level juggernaut debate. So shout out to both brothers. On Priest Hakah's end, we're gonna make sure we promote his business one more time.
Right. That's the end of that debate. Hold up. Make sure that is the end of that debate right there, man. He's done. Let me put this. That's the end of that debate. Done. So I hope y'all enjoyed the debate. Hope y'all, we finally got him in the ring. Finally put the belt to him. It's clear. So I did go into the God First Gang clubhouse room last night. I did go into the Grand Rising room last night. And both of those rooms, the people on the stage gave me my credit, gave me my flowers, and let me know I won. Not only was there Israelites that believe in Jesus like he believes in Jesus, Christians, they also, they believe in Jesus. They both groups let me know, Gdal, you won. Because me winning this debate and beating Hakah, it really has nothing to do with Jesus, if we're being honest. It has something to do about this prophecy and when it was fulfilled. So you can believe in Jesus and look at me and say, yes, you won. You beat him. And that's what happened during that time period last night. If you look at the comments on the debate, most of the comments let you know I won. If you look at the comments on Garfield's page, if you look at the comments on Hakah's page. They all saying I won. Only people that's trying to attempt to say Hakah won this debate is these wicked Israelites. Let me stop. Here's Genesis. That's it. That's it. Captain Tazariak said I won. Shout out to Captain Tazariak. But yeah, man, that debate is over, man. I'm gonna go live again tonight. I'm doing this on Streamlabs, so I'm not able to bring nobody up on stage right now. But I'm gonna go live on tonight on YouTube and maybe TikTok. So if anybody want to come up, talk to me, dialogue, have some questions, shout out. And I'm hungry. I'm about to eat something. Shout out to the brother Zamron. I think he's gonna do a live. I'm gonna go up on his live too. I don't know when he's gonna do it, but we're gonna see, and I'm gonna go holler at him. But Shabbat Shalom. I hope y'all enjoyed the debate. Flawless victory.
Flawless victory.
Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. Drop a comment. Share it. And let them know Gdal to knock only. He won.
Flawless victory.
Shalom. I'm out of here.